Instead of rooting for America to fail and calling it before it's over, why don't we just wait and see how it plays out?
What were the deals that he got in his first administration for the 4 years there?
But that's not what we're discussing now. What I'm saying is, why don't we? Yeah, because you keep moving the goalposts.
I'm asking for any deals. You said he's making this how you make deals. He didn't make any. He didn't make any. He hasn't made any. What can I evaluate?
Funds that we are spending that we are bringing us no benefit whatsoever. None. It's complete waste. And some of these are actually a net negative to us, which I can show. Like EcoHealth that funded gain of function.
No, yeah.
That's what funded gain of function. EcoHealth. That's true.
That's not true.
EcoHealth didn't fund gain of function. Really? Do you have any proof of that claim?
More than you'd ever know. Yes. The whole diffuse thing that you're talking about, that grant wasn't even approved. All of that is a fucking lie, but that's okay.
The prompt tonight is ending USAID was the right move for America and its interests. Okay, Andrew, there's a mic. Give us your opening thoughts. Tell people who you are, what you do, why we should listen to you, all that, and then we'll just go around. Go ahead.
Sure. I had a channel. It started as a martial arts channel. We've pivoted now. We're doing, cultural commentary, political commentary. So it's been going pretty well. Check us out. Subscribe on YouTube. My opening statement is very simple. We're in $39 trillion debt here in the United States. This is an existential threat to our country. Currently, we are adding to the debt faster, way faster than we're paying it down. I don't see any way we could get out of this without cutting programs that are, I would say any program that's not national security and that's overseas is on the chopping block. So we would, my opponents would have to demonstrate how it would be counter to the to American growth to cut these programs, as it's exactly what we need to do to survive. And I can also demonstrate with evidence that a lot of these programs are just waste, fraud, abuse. Basically, this is the quality leering of foreign policy. And I can demonstrate that through evidence. And my opponents can try to demonstrate. I'm sure they're going to say that, we're killing babies and this, that, and the other. But I will also demonstrate that this is just based on projections from publications like The Lancet, not actual data, just projections based on the most severe outcome possible from a left-wing publication. So at that, we can get into it. That's pretty much the argument that I'm going to take. I know you said you wanted to keep this short. We can get
we'll get into it as we go. Thank you for being here and looking forward to the discussion.
Thank you.
Admiral Gibbs, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, as far as what my partner just said, yeah, I agree with almost everything. Listen, there's going to be a whole lot of hooping and hollering and bitching and moaning and crying about shit that I don't give a shit about. Listen, I got two words for these countries. Fuck them. We've restructured USAID under the State Department. We can talk about people dying overseas, but listen, people are going to die anyway. There's other countries that can provide aid if they want to. We're going to hear a lot about soft power tonight. I'm talking about hard power, right? That's the secret. Is we're going in there. We have the bombs. We can do what we want. We're still going to be the biggest leader in foreign aid compared to any other country in the world for the umpteenth million year in a row. I'm sure we'll get into all this going forward. But I mean, the USAID was basically just an NGO, Tammany Hall, baby back bullshit plan. And I'm glad it's gone.
Okay, I guess we'll see how it goes. Thank you for being here. She's right, please.
USAID has saved millions of lives. It is the right thing to do. It represents, as Social Security does domestically, what it means to be an American and what a government ought to do. It is a great use of our money, and the world is a better place for it, and the world is a worse place without it.
Thank you, and I like it, short and sweet. Destiny, please.
Yeah, more or less the same. I think that anytime you're in a position of radical power, I think that you have some kind of obligation, ethical obligation to either the people around you or to the world to provide for them as best you can. I think that it's really hard to find ways to influence or invest in other countries that doesn't come off as being incredibly malicious, and this was one easy way to do that. So it's a good expansion of soft power that gives us a better reputation around the world, irrespective of ethical concerns. And having a more stable world around us also allows us in the long term to have a better national security structure at home because we have less chaos and destruction and everything else in the rest of the world, which makes it easier for us to protect ourselves.
Okay, and with that, it's open discussion. I'm going to let you guys go at it. Like I said, if I tell you to shut up, please shut up. And it's because I have questions or you guys are yelling at each other. So go ahead.
I'm curious about the first agreement brought up, which is either save money by cutting the budget or fuck them, let's invest in hard power, which is more expensive than soft power. How do you resolve that? I don't know. I'm just curious.
I mean,
It's difference
you
in
would take
values.
that. You would take that, Andrew. You want to go for it?
It doesn't matter. You could take it. I can pick up
Go ahead.
after. Well, I would say that we're wasting. A lot of this has nothing to do with national security. I can give you a couple of examples. We're giving $2 million to Guatemala for sex changes and LGBT activism. 1.5 million towards advancing diversity, equity, and inclusion in Serbia's workplace. Hold on, I got this mic again. Thing came up. Money going to Colombia, Peru, and India for things like transgender themed comic books.
That's not
3.9.
true.
Okay, I'm just going down the rundown of the government. If you have a source that shows that that's not true, that's the smallest amount. I can keep going. 3.9 million earmarked for LGBT in the Western Balkans. 5.5 in Uganda for similar programs. I mean, can we cut this stuff? Like, no one's going to die if we cut this stuff,
Well,
right?
and just
We agree
just,
on that.
Just to add to that,
No.
because I know you want to argue.
Wait, she said no. Like, how is this saving lives overseas, or something that's that we need to
How
be
does
spending our funds on when we're in
cutting
national debt
LGBT
that we're
healthcare?
yeah, how is that
Yeah,
our
people kill
responsibility?
themselves.
Okay, so because people are going to kill themselves overseas, we shouldn't pay down our national debt. We need to have a
We can do both.
hierarchy
That's
of
not true. That's a false
priorities.
dichotomy. And the question you asked
No.
was, how is this saving lives? And yeah, it is saving lives. So
Well,
that's a separate question.
Do you have evidence that any of these programs saved lives directly? Because you actually, CNN, Reuters, BBC all came out and said people were dying before they even realized that none of the money stopped yet. So this is just like your emotional blackmail. But do you have any actual
That's not
evidence
true.
that any?
Yes.
That is 100% true. CNN, BBC, Reuters, and there was one more, the AP, all reported before they realized that the money hadn't stopped yet, that people were dying from money that was still flowing. So this is just emotional blackmail. But again, I'd like you to respond.
That's
If there's
Yeah,
any
let him
evidence,
respond before you jump in, Admiral. Go.
Well, I was just going to throw one sentence to your she's right.
Let her respond before you do. Go ahead.
If you go to impactcounter.com, yeah, there's a methodology. Some PhDs tracked it. There's a lot of data. Like, it's not just what.
I mean, that's great and all, but I mean, let's talk about your other part of the question you asked us to reconcile this bridge. All right, so if we look at like the elections that have happened since USAID has been removed in South America specifically, there's been 7 elections. All 7 of those elections have moved from socialist communist governments to right-leaning populist governments that are pro-America. Would you say pro-American governments that are going to be more or less likely to attack the United States or harbor people that will injure the United States?
There's a lot of factors there that really depends.
So I mean, it's pretty simple.
Economic desperation.
Oh yeah, right. So if you're economically desperate, or how likely are you to be able to launch a successful attack here on the U.S. mainland? Probably not very. So I'll take that as a point for our side. Yeah, and then if you're talking about economic military discrepancy,
I mean, it's a combination of like the motive.
Hybrid warfare. Yeah, well, the motive is gone because now they're all pro-USA. If you're a pro-USA country, unless you're Israel, maybe you're not very likely to attack the United States. So what is your
right-wing governments are the more militaristic ones. You need the motive of some desperation, and then you need the actual military to wage a war.
To who? Because if we look at actually 218 examples of like throughout history and the last thing, I actually did a study on this in college and published it to get one of my political theory certificates from the Bush Library, that most countries that are attacking generally are what we would call left-leaning democracies. Right-leaning countries attack once and then they end. Generally left-leaning democracies, i.e. NATO, Europe, United States, are the ones who attack and are more aggressive on a regular basis. So what evidence do you have to prove that wrong? Because that is unequivocally a fact.
What, just as a quick thing for a quick reality check, what South American countries have launched wars against the United States in the last, 30 or 40 years?
None, as far as I'm aware of. But
wait, so what was the point of saying the governments were switching to right-wing governments? Like, why does this matter?
Well, that's okay. That's easy. If you're allied with China, who's a left-wing government, if you're allied with, I don't know, Venezuela, who was under Maduro and Chavez and was trying to actively attack us with cyber warfare or had issues with us previously, I would say that it's a benefit. It behooves us to get rid of people that are pro-communist, pro-socialist, pro these countries that are pro, I guess it's SYNC now, but it used to be BRICS, kind of organizations that are forming groups outside the United States' sphere of influence. Y'all are the liberals. Aren't y'all the ones who want the liberal world order to have this one kind of banking system, one economic currency? They're forming an outside currency system. Is that something you're a pro fan of?
I mean, I think that having people being allied with the United States and working closely with the United States instead of working with China is better. But right now, Canada is looking to a more Chinese approach than they ever have in the history of the entire relationship they've had between us and Canada. And that's largely due to Trump's aggressive response to them and trying to slice up the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement, which is literally the only agreement he can take any kind of credit for. So I don't know why that would be a priority now, because it seems like we've done everything we can in order to alienate ourselves from our allies and push them towards China. So that seems kind of like a weird point to bring up. But I just on the South American countries switching to right-wing governments versus left-wing governments, right-wing or left-wing, I don't see all of these governments like launching wars or a single one ever launching a war against the United States. The last thing I can think of is the whole Panama stuff, but that was in the like 89. So I don't know what, I just don't know what relevancy that has to this here. I guess on a really basic level, just on a very, very basic level, like if somebody has the ability to do something good for somebody, you know, and it doesn't cost them much to do it, do you think that people have a kind of moral obligation to that or no?
An obligation to that? I would say no. I think it's a good thing overall, but I don't think it's an obligation. No.
Do you think that people in general have like moral obligations? Do we have an ethical obligation to be moral, or do you think that we can be amoral or indifferent to morality? If a person, let's say a person walks by somebody on the street who's hungry, that person is going to starve to death, and you have like an extra cheeseburger, and you could give the person the cheeseburger. Do you think that you have some kind of moral obligation to fulfill there, assuming you're not going to starve, you don't have to do it every single day, but you see a guy, you know he'll die if you don't give him, like, do you think a person would be a bad person for not giving him the cheeseburger?
I absolutely do think they'd be a bad person because support Texas beef, and we should make sure all the homeless get Texas burgers.
Okay.
But no, but sure, like, yeah, I mean, no, I don't think you have a moral obligation. This person made their decisions. They ended up where they're at. Now, is it a good thing to do? Is it quote unquote the right thing to do? Like, I'm not gonna like judge someone for not giving. If I'm driving to the club that night and I see a hobo, you know, I might not be giving the money because I want to spend it on bottle service, right? However, if I park my car in Houston downtown or something, I'll pay hobo $20. And this is something I've done many times. I'll give him $20. I say you can sleep in the bed of my truck while I'm gone. I'll come back and hey, guess what? My truck's the only one's not broken into. So like, yeah, I'd rather give them money for something that's like an exchange than just give out a handout. I think that's actually breeds problems in general. However, I don't want people just dying. You know, it's a nice thing to do, but that shouldn't be the government's job. It should be things like churches or charities, in my opinion.
Okay, well, church or charity couldn't fulfill the same role the U.S. government does here, so that's kind of a pointless concession. But do you feel the same way, Dragon Fist TV? Do you think that people have an ethical obligation to help those around them if they have the ability to do so at little expense to themselves, or do you think it's just optional and it doesn't really matter much either way?
I do think that people should help if they can. However, overseas, like I said, this is like the quality leering of foreign policy here. There's no way for us to check, even if we look domestically as a reference at like humanitarian programs like homeless initiatives in California, even here where it's much easier to track and check the money, we see it's getting wasted. So that's all great. Like I said, this is emotional blackmail. No problem. I'm down with helping people. But what I'm not going to do is just waste money. See what Destiny wants us to do is waste money here at home, waste money overseas with no actual evidence that any of these programs do any good for anybody. He hasn't been there and checked. We don't know exactly if the money is going to the places that they say it's going to. It doesn't even happen here in the United States. So I'm not saying I don't want to help people. I'm saying that we need to know, especially, would you agree, Destiny, that the national debt is an existential crisis that we're facing right now, or no?
Do you think that we should cut all funding and all subsidies for
Is
local...
it an existential crisis or not?
I do. That's why I think we should vote for Democrats. But do you think that we should cut
so we agree
all
on the
subsidization?
Hold on.
Should we cut,
question.
should we cut all subsidies
sorry,
for like local agriculture in the United States then? I don't know why we subsidize them so much. We spend more on that than we do on USAID, or than we were on USAID.
You're talking about China. I think China owns most of our...
What?
Like that we should stop. Like, listen, I know that we sit here and we talk about the subsidies, and we've gotten through this before.
Wait, no. I just a super easy question. Should we kill all subsidies to local agriculture, animal ag, and farming ag in the U.S.?
I would argue as a rancher, yes, it has hurt us more than it's helped us, and I would argue even like for farming. I know the ag side is different, but most of the subsidies have gone to large corporations, and they've hyper focused things like corn. And when the corn industry crashed, it ruined other supplementary industries. We've seen this with soy industry. It artificially inflates a market that shouldn't be inflated, and the ag industry, like when it has a crisis, it hurts it way more, and it also hurts the food web. Like
should we end all subsidies? Should we subsidize nothing?
Well, no, I'm not a libertarian, but I mean, I would have to look at them individually. But I would say in ag,
what's one subsidy you might be for that you think the government should spend money on subsidizing something?
I don't know. Oh, okay. Right now, I think with the CHIPS Act is a good one. Maybe we can give subsidies to companies that want to invest in the nanotechnology. I mean, I think tech is a good industry to start pushing stuff right now. Space exploration are things I like. I mean, we could get specific, but like, I mean, these are all just like hypotheticals. I mean, I'm not inherently against any subsidy if it's done well, but currently the way the subsidies have been done have not been done well, especially with agriculture, in my opinion.
Okay. So assuming then, so neither of you really believe in any ethical obligation to support people overseas. Do you think that
I said yes. Wait, just to clarify, I said yes to that. I just don't want to waste the money.
What do you mean by waste the money?
I mean, we have no way of checking
We
that
have
these
plenty
funds
of
are
ways
getting
of
used.
checking. It's a whole federal
Can't
organization.
even
What do you
check
mean?
in California.
Wait, hold on.
Can't
That's
even
not
track
USAID.
the
Focus on
billions of
USAID.
dollars
What do
we
you
spend on
mean?
homelessness
We
in
have
California. How are you tracking the Sudan? I'd like to hear that.
For which program? I mean, you're probably literally just looking up right
Housing
now.
kitchens in Sudan. How are you tracking that?
So which
That
program?
the money's actually
Well,
going
aid
to
currently is
hold on.
cut to Sudan and South Sudan, which is
How
Why
are you
is
tracking
that? Why is it cut to Sudan? I think
Okay,
that's
just
the
to be
question
clear,
here.
the question here is how are we tracking overseas money through USAID? Is that the question?
Yes, sir.
Well, Rubio answered this, especially
Hold
specifically
on,
with
hold on,
Sudan
hold on,
recently.
hold on,
Like,
hold on,
I mean,
hold on.
okay.
Gibbs. Let them answer the question. It's a question. How are we tracking the expenditures given
clearly
through
looking up the
USAID to
answer.
these other countries?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm looking up. I don't know all of these off the top of the head, but
All right. Well, we're trying to just debate you, not your entire chat. And but go ahead.
well, the answer to your question
And
is
Google.
every single government thing has an attached watchdog that limits how or that tracks how the money is spent. You know nothing about grants or government's funding if you think that the money is just going into a black hole with no tracking for it. You clearly have never looked this up in your entire life, and I don't know individually how every single thing is accounted for. If you want, I'll place a friendly $50 bet with you right now, not knowing the answer off the top of my head, and we can look up to see if there's any tracking for money spent in Sudan. I know that I'm right. Do you really think
from the Lancet?
What?
We're going to get the answer from the Lancet. Where are we going to get the answer? That's the problem. Is like you haven't been there. So if we're talking about Sudan specifically,
USAID was
they
the
still
agency that
practice
did the
chattel
tracking, and they're
slavery
gone
there,
now.
like down south style chattel, hereditary chattel slavery, and you're complaining about 1,000 meals that we're not giving them. If you really cared about them, why isn't that your issue? And are you going to trust these people? So you trust people that practice chattel slavery? That's what you're saying with our funds? Is that your position?
No,
I'm
we
just
don't. We don't.
helping you. I
trust
want to
that.
know if that's
a
your
problem
position.
with the funding. A
You
problem with the
trust
funding of
people that
USAID, where
practice
most people
chattel
would actually critique
slavery
USAID,
with our
is that we
funds.
don't have local communities actually tracking their own data. There's a big problem where there are about 10 US DC based contractors that handled over 50% of these programs because they would have the white collar lawyers and accountants who would travel back and forth and have a very high salary to do so, actually monitoring these programs. That's a necessary part of any aid, is you need someone you can trust to do that. The problem with USAID is where there are rooms to reform the program, or any of those programs, or you need a more efficient way to do that, such as actually training and checking in on local watchdogs. But currently, like, it's all done by the US. Now it's out of our hands. So now we can't track that stuff because
Well, no,
USAID
it's been USAID has been rolled into the State Department. The State Department is still overtaking a lot of these needs.
And it's
They're-
part of
No,
agriculture.
no.
Well, hold on.
I just
no,
don't
no.
wanna-
The USAID thing is essentially gone. They've rolled some administrative
Right.
things into the State Department,
Some
but
programs,
it's the programs are basically gone.
Well, no, the 50 million. Well,
USDA.
sure, the programs are gone because the programs were NGO corrupt tools being used by Democratic Party to funnel money. But
Well, a lot of
if we, if
programs
we,
are bad.
Oh, hold on, Gibbs.
we have
What
actually
evidence
we have,
do you
evidence.
have that they
I
are,
do have evidence. I'm so
that
glad
they
you
are
asked. In fact,
funneling money to the Democratic Party?
in fact, we have Ukrainian officials on record right now before testimony. One of the senators gave it this week, talking about, hey, I forget which one, but I'm sure we can look it up. Somebody's got the AI going. They basically were saying we had them on file saying they were going to funnel money from USAID back into the Democratic Party, on record talking to the Biden. So this is something that's come up several times. We've seen examples of this in other countries. It's crazy how, like I said, all these leftist governments just fail and right-wing governments came in the minute USAID is gone. I mean, and we brought up Sudan. Rubio addressed this specifically with what happened in Sudan. He said, Sudan, what's happening is there's a war zone. So one, it's hard to get the aid out there. So aid just sitting in pallets, not being used, going to waste. Two, the people that are doing the aid out there are getting attacked and they're taking the aid away, which I guess is not the aid workers' problem. But then what's happening is the aid is being used against its own people by the groups that are in power in Sudan. And so one, even if you think, hey, it's not an NGO corruption scheme, and we want things like Sudan, the Sudanese to get help, well, guess what? You still haven't answered the problem because this is just soft power. We're not sending the troops in there. What happens when you have groups like in Haiti, where you have the gangs running the country, or Sudan, where these bad groups get in there and they use this aid to oppress their people further, or use it to bribe these people and fund their warfare, et cetera, et cetera. And y'all don't have an answer for that. And the answer is we stop funding those countries till they figure their shit out, or we send troops in, or someone sends troops in. And I don't want to keep just throwing money at a hole. Listen, I have a lot of money, but even then, it doesn't make sense to burn money every day. Like,
You keep saying you hate soft power, but then you keep advocating for ideologically friendly governments. which is soft power and is actually how former administrations did wield USAID.
Well, no, I hate
During
Well,
the
you don't
regular-
seem to have a problem with trading with slaveholders. That's my point. Neither one of you even answered the question. So you both want us to continue to give money to slaveholders in Sudan, right? That's Destiny. That's your position as well.
It would depend on one. It would depend on who's getting the money, and it would depend on what the money is being received for. I'm not aware of what was the particular program that was giving money to slaveholders, and what was the purpose for it in Sudan?
It was 1,000 kitchens in Sudan to stop people from starving. Go ahead, Gibbs. You can take it.
Was it to every single? Wait, hold on.
Wait,
Wait. 1,000 kitchens to who? Sudan is
I'm not going.
Hold on, before Gibbs goes, let the back and forth happen.
Fixing my camera. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So 1,000 kitchens. Okay, it's a country of like 50 million people. I googled that. I didn't know that off the top of my head. I'm sorry if that's upsetting you. But so were the 1,000 kitchens going exclusively to the slaveholders, or?
Well, I'm saying that the country practices chattel slavery.
The whole
and this
country,
is exactly
every
my point.
part of the
There's
country,
no way of
all the
knowing.
whole country does.
So you see my point for me. There's no way of knowing exactly where that money goes. However, it's likely to me, if this country is practicing things like slavery that your side hates so much, right?
Does your side not hate
Does your
slavery?
side not?
Yeah, we're
No,
the
they
party
don't.
that ended it. That's correct.
you're not.
Lincoln was the
Yeah.
first
How do you feel
Republican.
about
You could try to steal that from us,
Confederate
but that's
monument?
fine. Yeah, we switched, right?
The
We just
liberals
switched.
ended slavery.
Yeah, okay. I'm sure they did. The Democrats didn't weren't the ones that
The
that
Christian
succeeded.
abolitionists, but that's not
Okay,
Liberals
let's
ended
stay on
slavery.
target. We can debate
Yeah.
the Civil War another day.
Sure. So my point is just that I don't trust these people. We don't know where the money, and I'm fine with giving aid. I'm fine with soft power. I don't want anybody to die. Like liberals that are listening, I'm not like here saying this is the side that doesn't care that we just aborted a third of Gen Z. I'm not saying that. I'm saying we should save these people. Let's just make sure we're not wasting the money that's earmarked for our children, for our grandchildren, and for us to still have a country, because we know that the same thing happens every time an empire is about to crumble, right? Destiny knows what it is. Everyone knows what it is. It's all over YouTube videos and TikToks that they take on massive debt. Everybody knows that, right? So that's what I'm trying to prevent. Like, we have this glaring example from history, and we're just barreling towards it anyway. You
Then
tell
why
me
are
how
you
that's a
starting
good
with
idea.
Wait, hold on, just real quick. Are you in favor of rolling back the Trump tax cuts?
Can we stay on USAID?
I'm just a quick thing. Are you in
yeah,
favor of rolling
sure.
back the Trump tax cuts?
We can get to that later, but I'd like to stay on
No,
USAID
hold on,
just so we
hold on.
don't get
Well, we can,
diverted.
but
Hold on, just
USA
real quick, both of you, please. He's asking that because he's leading.
Wait, I
towards
don't need
if
you to
he
tell me
cares
I'm
about
asking a
that.
question. If you're
course I
really
know
serious,
it.
if you're talking about this as an existential threat, USAID was hovering at maybe 1% of our federal spending. Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is costing us hundreds of billions of dollars in tax revenue. Who knows, projected into the trillions after 10 years, depending on where the economy even pans out. So are you... I don't understand where this
Yeah,
like
I would
obsession
be-
with
I
dealing
would
with the
be
debt
for
comes
getting-
from.
Rid of all waste, fraud, abuse, and even some of these programs. We
I
can
didn't
get
say
into
waste,
it,
fraud, and
overseas
abuse.
that are
I didn't
just
say waste, fraud,
dangerous.
and abuse. I didn't say waste, fraud, and abuse. That was a failure. You guys hold on. You acknowledge that the waste,
Is it
fraud, and
wasteful?
abuse.
Aren't you claiming that the Trump tax cuts are wasteful, as in reference to
I'm
the
just checking
national
real
debt
quick.
coming down?
You acknowledge that Doge's mission was a complete and total failure, and given free reign of the government, you guys weren't able to find waste, fraud, and abuse, right?
I just listed
Hey,
you. So transgender comic books aren't wasteful.
What do you think
No,
waste,
that's not
fraud,
what
and
it
abuse
was.
means?
That's not
What
what
do you
it
think?
was.
What do you
That
think
was
waste?
funded by the
wasteful
State
or not?
Department.
What do you
and it
think waste,
featured a
fraud,
gay
and abuse
character,
is?
and it's about education.
Is that
programs.
that's what I would consider wasteful, and that
No,
might be
what
the
do you
difference.
define
That we have
waste, fraud, and
different
abuse?
opinions.
Well,
I
some
think
of us have
diversity,
experience
equity,
in
and
business, and
inclusion
some
in
of us don't.
Serbia is wasteful. Yeah.
How do you define waste, fraud, and abuse? What does that mean to you in a business setting?
So wasteful would be funds that we are spending, that we are bringing us no benefit whatsoever. None. It's a complete waste. There's no benefit to us, and some of these are actually a net negative to us, which I could show. Things funded by
What is the difference
USAID,
between what is the difference between
like
waste?
EcoHealth that
Yeah.
funded gain of function.
No, yeah.
That's funded gain of
this
function.
didn't happen.
EcoHealth.
What is the difference
So,
between?
yeah.
That's not true. What is the difference between wasteful
That's not
spending?
true.
That's not true.
EcoHealth didn't
What is the
fund
difference
gain of
between
function.
Hold on,
Not-
one at a time.
Do you have any proof of that claim? that you
more
just
than
made,
you'd
that that's
ever
not true?
know? Yes, that the whole diffuse thing that you're talking about, that grant wasn't even approved. All of that is a fucking lie, but that's okay. The wasteful spending that you're talking about. What's the difference between wasteful spending and spending on things that you personally don't like?
I guess whatever political party is in power.
Okay, so is that a real definition then of waste,
just
or
being
is that
honest.
just like a perspective politically? Do you really think there's not a definition of wasteful spending? Do you not know what that means?
It's going to vary depending on
No.
clearly she doesn't think it's wasteful. Clearly she thinks that it's important to send money for LGBT issues overseas, when clearly I don't. So we have a difference of opinion there.
It's not. Well, there's a right and a wrong. When somebody says waste, fraud, and abuse,
security, right? It's not national security. We could cut it.
So you have no idea when somebody says waste, fraud, and abuse, it's just things that you don't like. That's what waste, fraud, and abuse is.
I don't have that same definition. But what do you define it as, Destiny?
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
If we're doing like an audit and you're looking for like waste, fraud, or abuse, in my mind, waste is going to be like, let's say that we need a subscription for some fucking Microsoft program for the floor, and we find out that every single employee has like 7 different subscriptions, even though they use the same computer, right? Oh, this is waste. This is wasteful spending. We're duplicate spending in places. Let's say that we are providing food budgets for people that are so high that they don't need them, but then at the end of the year, for some reason, the food budget literally gets wasted because they're going onto Visa cards that are from the This is like waste, right? Fraud is like people are actually defrauding people. They're lying on forums about stealing money or whatever else. And then abuse would be similar to fraud, that people are maybe they're giving preferential contracts to friends that they shouldn't be, and it's costing more money than it should. This is like waste, fraud, and abuse. That should be an apolitical, bipartisan. Every single person should be able to look at a thing and go like, oh yeah, that's wasteful, fraudulent, or abusive.
That's what I'm trying to show you.
No, you're not. You're saying waste to you is things that you don't like.
I'm showing you transgender comic books.
It was not a transgender comic book, okay? It was a 3-part comic series about education and exchange programs that featured a gay character in one of the 3 volumes.
Bringing examples,
and it was funded by the State Department, not USAID. You keep telling that same lie, repeating that. It's not true.
Like magazines.
There was no transgender comic book. It was a State Department-funded 3-part series about education, which you want to promote.
There was no transgender comic books? Is that what you're saying?
How can you even know if there were transgender comic books if you're telling us there was no monitoring for any of these funds anyway?
No, I'm saying you can't know where the funds went, who they went to, who actually. We know what they're earmarked for. That's different than who actually
USAID was spending the money
and
on.
What they actually. I would admit you're probably right. They probably don't actually spend it on transgender comic books. You guys just think that that's really where it's going. So you're like, sure, send it. What we're trying to say is no.
That's a lie. It's a mischaracterization.
Not even saying
no one was paying for a transgender comic book.
How do you know? Because you say so? What evidence?
Because I have the comic book up.
It's in the report.
You can look this up.
Did you check every comic book?
You can believe in knowledge. No, I did not check every comic book. But this was about one specific project you can actually look up.
Okay, can I?
You have not looked it up. So I don't know where you're getting your information, but how can you trust that?
So I mean, I'll go with. First of all, I don't really care about the transgender comic books. Like that could be a thing that helps us or hurt us, depending. I don't know. Listen, but I want to come back to what Destiny's talking about with the waste. Okay, I'm going to give 2 examples. One is for the VA. I know it's not the USAID, but okay, Doge. One of the things Doge cut was funding to the VA, and I heard a lot of bitch about it. Specifically, one of the departments that got defunded is a department in Georgia that got defunded for having orgies on taxpayer dollars. Would we agree? I think we can all agree that. Listen, I love a good orgy. I'm a degenerate. Right, but I think we can agree that my tax dollars shouldn't be going to pay for the orgy. Can we all agree with that? Like that's something Doge cut, right? Okay, and then now we're talking about funding overseas for U.S.
characterization. Do you have a source for that characterization?
Apparently, the source is literally Jesse Waters said this one time on Fox News, and I don't think there's any actual truth of. Are you saying that what they were funding, like protection for the orgy? Sure. What is the source?
No.
Yeah, just read it off to us.
Source, yeah, here's a New York Post. Sex trades workers at troubled VA facility had a 12-person orgy, and one official batted 32 co-workers, according to Bombshell Prose by Patrick Riley. If you want the source, I can just post it in the side chat, or I'll give it to Whick, and he can send it. I mean, like, I'm not trying to be bad faith here. The point that I'm making is there's areas where we've had corruption and fraud, and I think that's part of what we wanted with Doge. And when we're talking about USAID, it seems to be that
hold on, wait, hold on, one thing at a time. It sounds like this was just an orgy that some VA people had. What is this taxpayer-funded orgy? What does that mean?
They funded the rooms and shit like for this orgy. They funded, and one of them was at a facility.
When you say, hold on, if you
arguably it was one of them was at the facility.
Let me know when you're done.
So if I'm having,
I'm curious. I've never heard
retarded.
this before.
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now.
Wait, hold on, wait. If 2 people hook up in an office, are you saying that like it was a McDonald's funded orgy or a McDonald's funded sexual adventure? Was this like the orgy room, or are these just people who were banging at a?
Yeah, that's the problem is they were doing it on office places at the office, and they also used funds to go to like places and then have sex off like work hours.
What do you mean by used funds to have sex in off work hours? What does that mean?
Okay, listen. Let's say we're gonna have the Diddy party.
The company card?
Yes, yeah, well, sure. I guess that'd be one thing. But say we're gonna have the Diddy party, and I decide to use the company card to pay for the Motel 6 that we're having the orgy at. Do you think that that's a good use of taxpayer dollars to have the money spent specifically on a Motel 6? It's not like we're just going over.
That would be fraud or abuse. I would say that would be a good fraud or abuse.
Okay, good. So we agree.
But was that happening?
Okay.
That's also not.
That's the alleged crime. Okay.
Alleged.
Okay,
well, this was published. This article that you just referenced was published December 4th, 2024. And all I see here is this. It's a congressional investigation into sexual misconduct allegations at a troubled VA facility in Tennessee where 12 officials who worked there took part in an orgy. I don't even know if they were fucking on site.
Yeah, it goes into all that. There's a bunch of articles about it. But the point that I'm making, you can read.
Wait. Is there? Give me the strongest article that shows did they even have sex on site?
They're alleging. Okay, bro. Just going in this article. It talks about all this stuff. There's talks about at which medical center they do this at. They talk about like the hotels. They talk about all sorts of different stuff. Like, I mean, we're really getting lost in the weeds here. I thought we were talking about USAID, which I had another point.
Well, no, this was one example that you brought up.
Well, here's what I was trying to do. I was trying to give.
Okay, it said at least two employees. We have two employees fessed up to having sex on the VA hospital's grounds. Does this mean they were using taxpayer-funded money to...
Yeah, if they were doing it on clock, yeah, that means they're using taxpayer-funded money.
Okay, that's a wild...
Where do you have evidence it was on the clock? Was this like 9 to 5, or is this like...
Once again, y'all get lost in the weeds. The point what I was trying to do is to get us all to agree on a definition of what waste would be, which I thought we did. If we agreed that they were using the money to fund this, that would be an orgy, right?
But no, they're not using the money to fund it. It sounds like the employees were fucking... I don't even know if it was on the clock, but that's not like there was money earmarked for federal orgies.
No, I agree, and that's why it would be fraud and abuse, correct? If it was done that way,
this thing that wouldn't happen would be wasteful if it happened. Yes.
They definitely fuck on the clock. We saw them do it like in the halls of Congress. So don't act like it's so crazy that they wouldn't do this.
I don't know why we're like, yeah, and also I don't know why.
Yeah, what do you mean? What?
Paid by the hour. If I'm getting paid by McDonald's,
both of you, just shut up for a minute, please.
If I'm getting paid by McDonald's, I'm fucking somebody in the bathroom.
Gibbs, do you not understand the meaning of shut up?
Good.
Shut up for a minute, because I'm trying to get us back on track and kind of put a pin in the orgy discussion.
Well, I had a point that I was trying to make, though, by the way. For the record.
So just to be clear, in the article, it's saying that people who were employed by the VA had sex at the VA, and your argument is that means that the funding that was going to the VA was fraudulent, wasteful, or abusive.
Yes, if
that's your argument, that's your argument. Okay,
sure. Yeah,
let's get back to USAID.
Okay, you're right. Which leads me back to what was going to be Haiti and Sudan, right? Okay, cool. If we're sitting here talking about waste, I would argue that it's wasteful if I send all the aid in the world to Haiti and then Barbecue steals the aid and then uses it to fund his people. Would you agree that's a waste of USAID?
If Barbecue steals the... I'm sorry, say that last part again?
Barbecue is one of the biggest gang leaders in Haiti, right? He and his gang leaders that are in charge of the capital took over the aid, like took the aid trucks.
If people are stealing aid, that's not good. Yes,
that's not good, right? Okay, so that would be inefficient and for waste and abuse, right?
I don't know if I would call it abuse. It might theoretically be wasteful. Yeah, if that usually programs start to get cut when they find that like local people are co-opting all of the stuff in a bad way. Yeah, so usually, yeah.
So she's right here as trying to characterize it. I'm not opposed to soft power inherently. I am opposed, and I don't think Dragonfist either, but I am opposed to how it's being done currently with USAID. One, I think it's corrupt, but two, even if it's not being done corrupt, I think it's being done inefficiently and poorly because we're throwing money at the problem and we don't have a real solution. Why throw money into Sudan? And I as much as one that
this is how you short circuit this whole argument, and you'll have a quote for this, but like this is how you short circuit this entire argument. Okay,
I'll have a quote. Don't worry.
If you tell me that you don't like this because the money is going to somebody bad or whatever, then the easy answer is okay. Well, what steps did they take to try to alleviate that circumstance before just cutting the program entirely?
So spend more money on it then.
How do you think you watchdog things? How do you think you do accounting and auditing? Yeah, you have to spend a little bit more money to audit things. Do you think it's free?
Okay, or
literally all of the coherent critiques of USAID
or we just cut
about the administrative overhead.
Okay,
yeah, we'll just cut it. Yeah,
fine. But then you don't care about that it's going to slavers, or you don't care about any of that shit. You just cut it because if you actually cared, then you would try to find ways to spend the money better. But you don't. You just want to cut it all. That's it.
I don't care. I don't care. I want it to go to people that it's supposed to either A, it's supposed to go to, or B, they're going to help us further along the United States.
Yeah, that never happens, though, and your side never does that, so I don't know why you have that position either. What funds did Trump redirect?
Redirect. Oh, I got those notes right here. Go ahead. And Andrew, you want to say
Well,
something?
that's also a straw man, because it's not just that we don't care. It's not just like, oh, you guys don't care, you just want to cut the program. No, if you listen to the premise of my argument, at least, it's we have this existential problem, which you agreed to, Des. You said it's an existential problem. It's the reason that the middle class and the elite, that there's such a big gap. Every year when we don't pay off the national debt, they have to print more money. Every year the gap gets wider. It's an existential threat. So that's why we're saying, hold on a second. We can't waste
But it
any
doesn't
of
make
this money.
sense when you say
How
we.
is that a problem?
Because it doesn't.
You would do the same thing with your money. You wouldn't just fucking waste it.
It doesn't.
If you were.
Now do the example for this. Okay, yeah. It doesn't make sense that all the people who wanted to cut USAID are complaining about the deficit when all of them are also the largest deficit spenders. That doesn't make any sense to me. Make that make sense to me.
That's an appeal to hypocrisy. You know that doesn't mean anything, first of all. And
no. Stop.
Hold on. Let him make his argument. Let him make his argument, and then you can respond. Destiny, make your argument.
Appeal to hypocrisy is showing that a person had a personal failing or something that contradicted a stated position, and to say that, like, oh, look, you can. So somebody says, I think that murder is wrong, and it's like, well, didn't you kill your wife? And it's like, oh, fuck, you got me, right? That would be an appeal to hypocrisy. If I say that all the same people,
it's inconsistent. It's inconsistent worldview. I misspoke.
Correct. Well, that's important because inconsistencies don't make sense. If you think that the debt is like the biggest problem in America, and all the people who are conservative and wanted to kill USAID seem to think that, but they're also all the largest spenders in the country, that makes me think that that's not honesty. Something is dishonest about this position.
It's the same exact thing that you're doing when you talk about worrying about people dying overseas, but you don't care that we aborted a third of Gen Z. You're doing this. You have the same exact inconsistent worldview. So, okay, not appeal to hypocrisy, inconsistent worldview. Fine, it doesn't matter. We could still look at those funds and say we need to cut them. Should we cut wasteful funds? Do we need transgender comic books? Yes or no?
I don't think money was going to transgender comic books.
We need them.
Money was not going to transgender comic books.
That wasn't the question. If it was going there, should we cut that?
It would depend on what the
that
program
is an irrational
was.
place to start.
What? See what?
Should we cut it?
It would depend on what the program was. I don't know. You'd have to tell me more.
Transgender comic books. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what that means. Are you talking about like a holistic program that does fucking comic books for kids?
Exactly. It's so stupid.
You can't engage. I do agree it is stupid. I do agree it is stupid. Because it doesn't. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Stop. He's owned me. Show me the transgender comic books. We'll wait. I'll wait.
Oh, you think I have them?
No. Show me online. Link me the $2 million transgender comic books. I'll wait.
Maybe you missed it again. Is that we don't know if they're actually spending. They're probably not actually printing transgender comic books. But this is what it's earmarked for. This is what it's earmarked for.
Nope, that's not what it was earmarked for.
Show me the earmark. Show me the earmark. Show us the earmark. Show us the earmark.
This is known.
Show us the earmark.
Show us the earmark.
Checked all the earmarks.
Show it. Show us the earmark. Where is it?
Your link. DM me your evidence, and I'll show it on screen.
Also, y'all mentioned the redirect thing real quick. Just the redirect. Some of the things.
Hold on. Let him DM me the earmark or the source that he has that shows the earmark.
Are you talking about me? Why do you have her DM you the source that it wasn't?
Because you made the allegation there is $2 million earmarked
definitely
for
wasn't. How do you know that?
And you have not proved
How do you know it definitely wasn't?
What do we have to do? Find every single dollar earmarked by USAID, go through every single
thing,
and then say that
how do we know it was?
If it's not true, right, this is what they're saying it was earmarked for.
No, you are making the claim, and you need to prove the claim.
I'm not arguing with the government. That's what it's saying.
You have asserted this idea of $2 million paid by USAID for transgender comic books, and you have not sourced that.
He's got it. I'm not making it up. It is a real claim. I didn't just put it on my, I'm not making it up. You know I'm not. It's a real thing.
How do we
hold on, making it up.
How do we know you're not making it up?
He's going to give you the evidence. I could find it also. I didn't know we were looking stuff up here during the debate.
So you made this claim without evidence?
You make every claim without evidence.
Not true.
My evidence is $39 trillion debt that we're accumulating faster than we're paying down.
That's not evidence. That would fail a middle school essay.
Evidence.
You know that does not prove your claim. That is stupid. You would fail an 8th grade class.
That is evidence.
You do not have evidence of the claim you allege.
Faster than we're paying it down. Where is your evidence that any of this money is helping anyone? I'll wait.
Okay, so I've been sent two things.
They're not mine. By the way, those are the sources that say it. This is not my claim.
Okay, I found what I think is the earmark. So the description for this is to cover expenses to produce a tailor-made comic featuring an LGBTQ plus hero to address social and mental health issues. So I don't even know if he's trans. He could just be gay. And it looks like the funding amount was $32,000. That's one that I see.
I didn't list an amount, did I? I said monies.
I thought you said $2 million. Did I miss that? I thought you said $2 million.
$2 million by USAID. It was $32,000 by the State Department.
Yeah, the $2 million is at the
So
program.
should we not say anything? Just let it go. Can I have $32,000?
You should have
Just let
proof
it go?
before you say
just
shit.
Give me $32,000. We're just letting money go. I'll take it. Like, why did they get it?
It sounds like it's a public diplomacy
Okay,
program.
so can we cut it, Destiny?
If you want, then
It was a
get the
three-part
political
comic series on
support to cut the
education
program and do it.
exchange
Don't just go through and
programs.
pretend you're
You
fighting
think
waste,
we
fraud, and
should cut
abuse.
it?
I think we should cut funding to every red state until we lose enough of these people that we could carry on with our country in like a
I'm trying to
holistic
help.
way.
Hey,
Jesus.
Trying to help
okay,
cut the
that-
national debt. I'm not trying to hurt you.
You're not. You don't
Like,
support
why is
anything
it
to cut.
irrational way
You don't
to
support
approach
anything to
reducing
cut the
the national
national
debt.
debt. You guys are the biggest spenders in the history of the country. Trump on his own is almost responsible for a third of the fucking debt. Are you in favor of our current war in Iran?
Base.
I never supported the war in Iran. You could check on my page from the first day.
How about we start there?
I like
Because of
that.
this exact
I'm also
reason.
not
So
making
who's not
sense.
consistent?
Right.
Because of this exact reason that it doesn't help us at home. It's a huge waste of money.
How
that
do you
doesn't
know?
help.
Wait. Sorry, hold on. I
You
forgot.
can make a
Wait.
claim.
I didn't. Hold on. I'm sorry. I forgot a pre-question first. Hold on.
That's just my opinion.
I
on-
agree.
on
I agree.
Iran.
Wait, that
It's
might
not
have
a-
been.
it's not
I
a-
agree.
Hey, what
Wait.
the fuck?
Real quick. Hold on.
Answer
Yeah.
the
Wait.
question. I answered
I
it.
agree. I'm just asking one question,
Yeah,
Dragon. Did anybody have foreknowledge of 9/11 and didn't tell the United States?
I'm not aware,
Jones?
sir.
You're what?
Alex Jones.
I'm not aware, sir.
Do you believe that?
If they had that knowledge or not.
Wait, who's they?
I'm assuming they did because you said that.
Okay. Who's they? Who am I talking
They
about?
or not? Tell me the story. I don't know. I don't know every
All
time.
right. Okay. I understand why you're going to say
Did
that.
they or not? I want to know what your point is. What is your point?
I don't have a point. I was just asking a question.
What is your point?
Okay.
So I did send the thing to you, Whick, but I think it's 2 million
You-
was like
You
earmarked.
sent me the same thing he sent me. It's the same page. Alice sent something else. A fact check
That's
site.
the direct
I'll just
link
throw that on screen real quick.
To the comic.
Where here do you want me to show this precisely?
It's the last section.
A transgender comic book in Peru. This one.
Yes.
In 2021, the U.S. Embassy in Peru introduced a comic book called The Power of Education, in which it used to promote education exchange programs in the U.S. The following year, the embassy commissioned a second volume. The embassy asked us to introduce a gay student, number 2, to show his personal struggle coming out to his parents, but that has zero to do with being transgender. David Campiti, who owns the company who produced the comic book, told us in an email. The comics were about scholarships and furthering education, and it goes on, but it seems to be saying that, at least according to this source, that there wasn't a transgender comic book in Peru. It was about education, and one of the characters was gay.
Irrelevant to my point. Still a huge waste.
Nope.
Irrelevant to my point. Does that
Not
make
true.
it not
Your
a
whole
waste?
point was a lie about that.
No, it wasn't. It's a fucking huge
You lied
waste.
about the funding amount, where the funding came from.
I didn't
and
say
you're
a
not
funding
proving any
amount.
waste.
I didn't
Wait,
say
hold
it.
on.
I
Bother
didn't
you
prove
with
waste.
understanding
He just
the
proved it
intended
for
impact it
me.
would
It
have.
doesn't
$2
matter.
million
if
is
it's
claimed to go
30,000,
Guatemala,
5
not
million.
Peru,
He
so
just
that-
proved the waste.
But that's neither here nor there.
He just proved it. What do you mean? He said it's not happening. He looked up the gay comic book. If it's a single dollar, it's a waste. Why
How
should
is
we
that a
send it
waste?
there?
How do you know? How are you measuring that?
Because
You said before, it's just your
gay
opinion.
comic books overseas are a waste when we're in so
It's
much
an
debt
education
that it's
exchange program for
snowballing
comic book.
and it's eliminating our middle class. I would say gay comic books can take a fucking back seat for now. Once we fix that, then we can worry about the comic books overseas. This is like
Promoting
a serious
educational
issue. I don't know
outcomes
why.
in Peru is
like, you
good
think
for
that-
the world and improves economic conditions in Peru, which makes them a more.
Who gives a
developing
shit if
country
our
and a more viable
economic
trading
conditions
partner for the
here
United
are
States.
failing? Have you ever been on a plane where they tell you put the mask on yourself first, then you put it on the other person? If we fail, guess what? We can't help anybody. So then what happens to all those people you don't care about, that you care about? What happens to them then when we can't help them anymore because we failed? How do we help anybody if we fail?
You have in no way proven the logic that we are not allowed to fund any overseas programs to help anyone else until
Well,
we
nobody's
have
saying
helped
that.
ourselves.
Nobody said that.
Yeah,
That's
you
a
should-
straw man.
That was
Yeah,
the entire point of your analogy about you have to put your mask on yourself before someone else.
No,
Yes,
hold
that
on,
was-
hold on.
No, it wasn't.
Like you may struggle with analogies because you also
You-
struggle with like evidence
No,
and basic
the
citations.
national
So that's just
debt,
kind of where
same
you're at.
premise I've had the
Hold on,
entire time. You
hold
can't
on.
follow the argument, that's fine. The
Yeah, you-
national debt is an existential threat. Therefore, we must cut programs that aren't directly related to national security. So
You have not
in
proved this an existential threat, and you're taking an irrational
so
approach
we can
to
continue to
reducing
help
the national
others.
debt.
That
Well, first
is
of
the
all-
argument.
First of all, you've only made one-liners, so I wouldn't be talking about evidence. I mean, like, you pointed this one to 32,000. You keep talking about that. Yeah, that's cool. But the claim originally, this is the one I sent, Wick. I don't know why if it's the same one, but the thing I sent, the claim is 2 million LGBTQ activism, and I think it's Latin America and specifically Guatemala. Not that I really give a shit because I don't care. I'm not on the same like diehard thing that he's talking about. However, when I'm talking about waste and inefficiency, I listen. I'm not opposed to soft power in general. I just think USAID was not the way to do it. I think that we need to redo it, and this is the kind of the point I wanted to get back to when I brought this up here. Some of the restructuring we've said, we cut. We've done United Nations funding. We've cut that. I think that's some good. But then we pledged $2 billion blanket fund to them through OCHA. I was like, okay, that's the Greece and DOU in humanitarian fund, but it's still the largest amount being given by anybody. We also are doing direct cash assistance. We saw the micro loan program has worked, so we're doing a program called Macro Awards through the State Department. That seems to be going very well. And then we're excluding certain climate plans that other countries weren't following, like China, that were hurting us economically. And now, we're like, why are we going to do these things if other countries aren't doing it? And I'll give you an example: screwworm, right? We talked about this, whose fault it is, whatever. Well, it passed the Darien Gap, and they kept funding fly systems in the Darien Gap. Well, once it's passed it, why are we wasting money on something that's already failed? We need to reuse that money to go use it more efficiently to like stop the screwworm in a different spot, not keep funding where it's already failed, right? So I think that when you're sitting here saying no soft power, that's just the best characterization of like what's happening with Republicans. We just don't like the inefficiency, the corruption, or where we perceive waste. Now, I'm not on the board with like Andrew necessarily about the anti-LGBTQ crusade. However, it does seem hard for me when I see grants being given out to study like butchers' languages in like France, right? Why do we care about that? It's like $200K, not it's a drop in the butt. Like, I don't care. Some of these might even be CIA black programs. I don't really care. But the point is that some of these are wasteful, and we don't need to do them when there's money. We can spend that money differently here. And I don't necessarily even care about the debt as the issue. I care about shit being done in a way that's going to help America.
Okay.
Right?
We gotta let the other people respond.
Sure, don't worry. I had waited like 10 minutes. Relax there. I'm done. Yeah, that's it. I was done.
I mean, like we're just back where we were before. It's basically these are spending things that you just don't like, and then you confuse that with waste, fraud, and abuse, and then you say that it's a waste of money to spend things on here, and we should be spending more domestically, but conservatives never have anything more that they want to spend domestically on, and they seem to waste so much money on other things, and they constantly grow the debt and deficit, so it's hard to take any complaints about deficit spending seriously. And then even for like, oh, well, soft power isn't as good as hard power, blah, 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 like every time Trump comes into office, we get more and more hated by other countries on the world. Our reputation is like at an all-time low right now, so it seems like any plans that we have with regards to making the United States more respected or increasing our power is not working out at all in favor of us. We're not doing well on a respect level where we've lost like the worst war maybe in all of U.S. history ever under like the pro-war kind of Department of War president. It seems like every country around the world doesn't want to work with us. Trump is begging like a pathetic baby for NATO to come and help him in the Strait of Hormuz, and nobody wants to help him because he literally was shitting on everybody a while ago. China is looking to Canada. Canada is looking to China. Trump wants to tear up the largest trade agreement region in the world for I'm not even entirely sure why. You guys are complaining about wasted money in USAID, and Trump is spending money on UFCs outside in ballrooms and everything else. And I just don't know. There's just like no consistency. It seems like you just hate the concept of soft power because crazy Republican guy or Alex Jones told you it was an evil, bad program, and then that's where the thoughts basically start and stop, and that's it.
It's another straw man.
Yeah, what were the 4 objectives of the war, by the way? Just real quick, because Rubio stated them.
At one point, he might have, but I mean, that was after we'd gone back and forth.
It was destroy their ability to produce, missiles and weapons and shit. Okay, we've done that. It was destroy their navy. Their navy's gone, right? It was degrade their ability to give money to Hezbollah and their access to terror. That's gone. Hezbollah's the weakest ever been. Hamas is basically on his back legs. The Houthis are like they're still around, but they're not nearly as good. So yeah, we've done all these things, and then the 4th one was like, stop them from making money and shit. Like so, once again, we've hurt them and take out their leadership. Right? We've took out their leadership. That's pretty.
Do you acknowledge that
we're on their like 5th person now? Like we bomb them.
Iran is like
generals don't even answer the phone.
Iran is gearing up to be the strongest nation it's ever been in the history of its entire existence. Are you not aware of that?
Yeah, I'm going to need whatever weed you're smoking because that is
the weed that says that Trump is offering them full sanctions relief and the ability to basically tax stuff going through the Strait of Hormuz and the ability to tell Israel that they're not even allowed to strike Hezbollah in Lebanon anymore. That's why Israel is freaking the fuck out so much about it. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, because Israel's our attack dog. Sometimes you got to smack your attack dog and let them know who's daddy. Like, I mean, like,
you're aware that Israel is the one that smacked us around to get us into Iran, right? Even your friend here would probably agree with that, right?
We backed them. We backed them when we needed. And
we didn't back support them. We got pulled in. Trump got pulled in. He got led around like a child on a leash, right?
Wait, you're the one who's y'all are the ones you're saying we don't back our allies. Then one time we go back our allies, now y'all are upset we're doing it. So like, what is it? Are you mad that we're not going to be backing our NATO allies? Or are you mad that we're backing Israel because they're our ally? Like, which is it? Because that's the whole point of agreements, isn't it? That's what I get told by Whick and all these other people when I come on here, is that we need to honor our agreements internationally.
Yeah, we don't have formal agreements with Israel to help them in offensive wars. We don't have formal agreements with any country on the planet to help them in an offensive war with anybody else. Israel is absolutely not a NATO ally, so I don't know why you'd bring that up. And this is not us backing our allies in a mutually beneficial war. It's trying to back Israel in a crazy war because Trump is actually fucking and doesn't know what he's doing in the Middle East. But so you were.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue they were attacked on October 7th, and Iran was the one who funded
I do have a question to maybe get us back to the topic at hand.
Thank you.
And this is to Andrew and to Gibbs. Andrew first, if you please.
Sure.
If we can provide, or if people can show evidence that these programs, as silly as they might sound, increase the goodwill of the nations that we are trying to help, therefore allowing them or making it more likely that they'll be favorable to trade deals that are in our interests, to defensive pacts that are in our interests, to allowing us to use their land for bases, allowing us to use their ports to resupply and reconnect. Would that change your mind?
It might. I'd have to look at it on a case-by-case basis because, again, I want to stay away from the straw man that Destiny was making. Like, it's not just we want to cut aid. It's we have this existential threat that we want to get down as much as possible. And we can look at domestic things too, and we can look at things case by case. We're not, and even what Gibbs was saying, my own partner, I'm not like anti-LGBT. I just don't think it's the issue that we need to be spending money on while we're drowning in debt. And Destiny already agreed it's an existential threat. So personally, I wouldn't care. I wouldn't care if it was heterosexual comic book, like earmarked for straight men. I would still say cut it. I don't care if it's like any type of sexual, anything, pleasure, anything that's not national security needs to be looked at and put on the chopping block when we're in this position. If we can get ourselves out of this position where we're not accumulating debt faster than we're paying it down, because what I would like is from one of them, maybe we could ask them, how do we get out of this? And then we could start to look about helping other people, because we're in a spiral, a downward spiral. I think that's the most important thing. And once we look at that, we can look at all the other programs you're talking about. I'm not just trying to cut off aid around the world indiscriminately.
That's a question. How do it? Yeah, and this is to She's Right in Destiny. How do we get out of this? If
elect
you're
a Democratic president.
I can't separate the obsession with the debt and the deficit and all the people that want to get rid of USAID with all of the largest largest spenders in the United States. I just can't separate those positions.
It seems like support the war.
That's great for you, but you voted for people that did, right?
Well, I only have two options.
Well, then there you go. Yeah, but one of them is worse for the debt, right? The Republicans are worse. You think that the hold on.
I think the worst that comes only from Democrats, they use it as like a funding tool through NGOs like Gibbs was trying to put. Like, why do you think Tim Walz was at the heart of Minnesota and he was also the VP nominee?
So you think, hold on. So just to be clear, you think that, okay, filibustering, bro. Let me know when I can talk.
Okay, you got to let him respond. Go ahead.
That happened.
We got it. You got to let him respond.
You got a virtue signal because these people only care about fucking trans people and gay people, apparently. If you look at
spending.
spending,
straight people examples.
You're giving me Walt's going to a fucking whatever the fuck. Who cares?
So
I'm saying that if we look at,
I'm talking about race.
So you don't care. We don't care about debt anymore. So do you care about debt or not? Do you care about debt or not? Do you care about debt or not?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need to cut all the waste, and it comes from your side.
Bill Clinton was the last president to have a budget surplus. Do you acknowledge that?
Correct.
Yes.
Neither side is fixing it.
I didn't say. I said Bill Clinton was the last. That's a simple one. Without having to hedge, Bill Clinton was the last one to have a budget surplus. Yes.
Yes. But he also carried a lot of
George Bush was the one, a Republican, that mired us down in Iraq and Afghanistan, correct?
Yeah, I'm not here supporting Republicans.
Donald Trump was the one.
That cutting USAID is good.
Sure.
So you're, again, straw manning my position.
Okay. I mean, you're not reality. You don't care about the debt or deficit. Just don't lie about it. It's just so boring to lie about it.
I do care. That's my main argument.
You don't care. You don't give a fuck. It is a useful vector for you, like Hassan and Israel, Palestine, or whatever else. The debt is just a useless vector for you to carry whatever cringe like cultural shit that you give a fuck about. That's it.
It's an existential threat. How is it a useless vector? You admitted it.
No, I didn't. Because I think that it's important, but you don't. That's the difference. We're not the same. I think that, yes, I think the debt and the deficit is important, but you don't care about it because you will support the spenders. You support the spenders. You support the spenders. Do you understand that?
You vote for increasing the deficit. You're not a serious person.
You have to stop straw manning me, dude. I know it's the only way you can beat the
argument. It doesn't matter about supporting the war in Iran. We don't vote by referendum in the United States of America. You have to vote for a president and you vote for political parties.
Blindly. That's what I'm saying.
Who did you support in the last election? Trump or Harris?
Of course I supported Trump.
Okay, and Trump is spending more than Harris would have. That's my point. Wait. You think the most important thing is...
The king of fraud? Is that what I was supposed to support? And then you would have said I was making the right choice? No one could have known Trump was going to do this. This isn't what he ran on.
No one could have known Trump was going to do it. Go to war with the country that he's been fear-mongering about for decades?
This isn't what he ran on. Right?
Well,
so you have to say that you have to give voters the benefit of the doubt that they believe what he was saying.
God.
You don't? You think that all the voters knew that he didn't mean no new wars? Because I honestly didn't. I can be honest sitting up here. I thought we were not going to have any new wars, and I didn't support it. So that's why I say you're putting me in a position that I'm not even defending.
Hold on. Stop. Gibbs, please. Stop, all of you, both of you. Well, let me just ask you a simple question. Okay, knowing that they did lie.
The answer is no.
In 2028, are you going to vote for Republicans or Democrats?
Well, first,
hold on, let him answer the question.
Okay, go ahead.
You're asking me?
Yes, you.
Who I'm going to vote for in 2028?
Yes, knowing that the Republicans basically lied to your face, no new wars, new wars, and they've drastically increased the debt and the deficit, who are you voting for in 2028? Knowing what you know now, are you going to vote Republican again, or are you going to vote Democrat?
You know, can I just elaborate before I answer with context?
Before he says Republican, yeah.
Because I think the Democrats are worse, and I don't think Trump was deliberate. Let me just answer.
Finish, then you guys
I'm being 100% good faith. I'm not. I'm telling you guys the truth. I'm not like thinking out a talking point. I'm telling you what I honestly. I don't think he was lying when he said no new wars. I think he got manipulated by Israel and dog walked into this war. So I don't think it was an outright lie. I think he was manipulated and handheld into this war, and now he can't get out of it. Now they're sabotaging him in every way possible. So I would have to...
Just as a quick question, can you tell me what kind of voodoo Harris was hooked up to that she could so accurately predict on stage several times that Donald Trump would get us into war with Iran? What did she know?
Well, I mean, to be honest, to be clear, first of all, I actually agree with Destiny on this, but in one factor. One, I don't think he lied to us. Two, he has been saying since 1988 that he was going to go in there and fucking take Long Island and dominate the shit out of Iran. And Iran tried to kill him. If you know anything about Trump, he's real petty. He's about the 50 cents of politicians. I don't think that he's going to sit here and let someone who tries to kill him get away with it if he can. So, yeah, I knew we were going to war. Everybody that told themselves they wasn't, they bamboozled themselves on that one. Sorry, I'm not going to stand here and take that one. I definitely knew he was going to war the whole time, and I voted for that, and I wanted that. Now, that's a different section of the Republican Party, I guess. I don't know. But when we're sitting here talking about all these things like USAID, I'm looking at all these examples. This is all part of his Don Roe doctrine. He's trying to control the straits. He's redone these things. You talk about his economic plan, the TRIPS plan with Azerbaijan is fantastic. The new deal he made with Indonesia, the Strait of Malacca, fantastic. We're going to be guaranteeing that, and we're going to control the flow of oil. Looks like China is now starting to buy more of oil. We're becoming larger oil exporters than we've ever been before. We control Panama. That's another major strait, our passage right there. So, and then now we're talking to the NATO allies. Hey, listen, if you don't want us taking Greenland, y'all better go and spend some money and secure the Arctic passages, because guess what? You don't have two boats y'all can rub together. Honestly, he asked NATO to do this as a trap, not only because we didn't think they would do it, but because they probably couldn't even get the boat out there to Iran, and if they wanted to. And guess who did get one out there? Argentina. So, hey, all these right-leaning governments. Hold on, one last thing. But hold on, this is the... Sure, hold on. I've been waiting a while here. So, real quick, I'm sitting here when I'm sitting this... I said this earlier, with the 7 countries in South America to watch, Argentina was one of the countries that sent ships to Iran with us. So, hey, guess what? Looks like those countries are already benefiting us now that USAID is gone.
Yeah, how much is Argentina's ships, the 2 tugboats they sent, how much has that helped us control the Strait of Hormuz?
Hey, it's pretty good. We got some freighters through with them.
hold on? Do you think that we are in control currently of the Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah, we are absolutely in control. We're the ones stopping all
Sounds
this
like
shit.
waste to me.
We're sending ships through most of the time. It's probably fine to get one out of every like 500, whatever. Like, yeah, I mean, you could giggle. I mean, clearly you don't know the situation. You know, we can watch
It's absolutely not even remotely true. The Strait is
It is
dead.
true. We can watch,
completely
we can watch
wrong.
the transponders. We're seeing the.
So I heard JD Vance say yesterday that the amount, and maybe JD Vance is lying, but he said yesterday the amount of ships is down, but the amount of barrels that's going out is the same. Those mostly cargo ships that aren't going through, hauling other stuff. I'm just telling you, I heard him say it yesterday. So maybe the vice president is lying, but that's what the administration is saying, that the amount of barrels going through is almost back to pre-war amounts.
Yeah, I mean, we have evidence
hold on.
shipping marks
So
and shipping
I
transponders.
just have to point this out. I'm sorry, but we've just gone over how they lied to you about no new wars.
Well, they didn't lie.
Then
I said I'm just saying what the administration is saying.
Maybe they could be lying again. I don't know. Possible.
Then how do we know anything?
Likely.
Well, hold on. They didn't lie. They didn't lie about no new wars. So I reject that completely. That's part of the reason.
And I don't think they lied. I think he got dog walked. He got dog walked by Israel. I don't think it was his intention to say, we're definitely not going to do this. Ha ha ha. As soon as I get in, I'm doing it. Like, I don't think that's what he was doing. Destiny, do you honestly think that's what he was doing? The whole time he had this plan. He was like, no new wars, no new wars. Fuck these guys. I'm going to start a new war when I get in there. Or did he get in there and Israel was like, we're going. And he was like, fuck it. We just did this in Venezuela. We had amazing success. He thought he could recreate it. He was wrong.
I think he's stupid. But that would be I would factor that in my vote for him, that I wouldn't vote for Trump because I know he's stupid. Just like he can't manage the debt or the deficit, which you said were existential threats for the United States, and Trump has failed miserably at. Yes, but Harris would have done a better job. That's why I voted for the Democrat. That's why I vote. Right. But USAID is not impacting our debt or deficit that much.
That's not the prompt who I vote for.
Yeah, hold on. But just real quick, please, just so I can kind of make people understand. It isn't the prompt, but your argument is that the USAID was bad and we should end it because the debt is an existential crisis. So that makes it part of the debate.
Well, you're asking in the field. We don't know who the candidates are going to be. Should I vote for President AOC? Is that who you think we should vote for, Destiny? President AOC or over any Republican? Who do you guys think?
Republicans are incapable of managing the wallet. They can't do it. You guys spend like crazy. You're not willing to cut any spending, and you guys cannot manage the tax receipts either because you just want to cut your revenues over and over again. So no, I don't think if you care about the debt, I don't see how you can possibly elect a Republican. Republicans have shown for the past 3 decades that they cannot manage a wallet.
And yet the polling, every time they poll like independents and like Democrats, Republicans, people trust Republicans with the economy more than Democrats. Like so clearly there's some sort of disconnect here with what you're saying, and because I don't see it. And it seems like we do good. You talked about Clinton's policies. Clinton continued most of the policies Bush Senior put in, and so like I don't really know that that's the dunk you're thinking it is. I don't know. You're sitting here saying all these things, but really, I'm just saying the USAID has been faulty, corrupt, and bad overall, and we need to use our soft power more efficiently. And when I can point to examples where Europe can't even send a boat, even if they wanted to, and to South America, who just a few years ago, El Salvador was a piece of shit, and now they're over here right-leaning, they're over here sitting here fixing their stuff. They're able to send aid to Venezuela after the issue stuff just went down. They're able to send aid to other South American countries and Central American countries after all this stuff, after being a poor country for decades. And now we're seeing this switch, and same thing with South America. It's wonderful, and it seems like USAID was holding us back by keeping leftists in power that were coming against us.
Yeah, I mean, like that's like a fun narrative, but there's just no evidence or proof of literally any of this. So I don't understand how that USAID was the thing keeping some people in power. Do you think Malay is doing a good job down there as we have to subsidize them for tens of billions of dollars for their farmers, as our own farmers need subsidies because of how uncompetitive we're making our own markets, as China continues to outmaneuver us over and over again? Are you talking about how we're now hostile to all of our trading partners on the planet? Like we had 100 new deals in 100 days was supposed to be coming. We've had 0 deals so far. Nobody wants to make deals with us, and now we're cutting up our successor to NAFTA deal. Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Who are the farmers? Like,
this guy just wants to get away from the prompt.
I'm interested to see this because you brought up the subsidies again earlier. I said, I think we should cut subsidies here. Who do you think the farmers are? Because the ones that are getting the subsidies are like, I guess it's Bayer now. It used to be Monsanto. They're the ones that are giant farmers. right? Mega corporations. So I didn't know the Dems were the party of, hey, give the mega corporations subsidies. Like that's crazy. Now ranching is mostly 97%, but I think it's really 17% of that, whatever, is independent. But when you're sitting here saying these things, yeah, I guess it's good to give the Malay a subsidy if they're going to actually send troops and ships to help us out. That's what the countries we should be backing. We should be spending soft power. So you're doing this weird backflip where it's like, hey, we should support our allies, except when they don't support us, and we should still give them money. Or, hey, I don't want you to subsidize stuff from Malay, even though he's actually doing stuff for America and actually helping us out.
What was Malay doing for America? What?
He sent ships to help us during the fucking Strait thing. I just mentioned this.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it worked. They got the ships through. So my point is this: like, you keep talking about like how they help. Yeah, I mean, you can giggle, but my point is soft power has been going to help us. We're using soft power now to get for countries that want to be a part of Team America, and y'all want to just.
We are isolating more countries than we.
Because I just checked. I see no evidence that they sent ships at all.
All right, I'll get another thing. Give me a minute.
Yeah, can you link me? Because I'm just maybe I just missed it, but I'm seeing nothing. But I could be incorrect. I know there's a Facebook page.
Yeah, it's gonna take me a second. I'll have to find it. I have it linked in my Discord. Just give me
there was tweets that said it, but there was no actual announcement or article or anything I could really find.
Just give me a couple minutes. I got it. I'll find it before we here a second.
Yeah, just really quick. But back to the USAID stuff.
Regardless, they're still doing stuff with us for the economy, so they're still helping us.
I don't know about that. The argument that USAID actually benefits these countries and helps them not just economically, but inspires goodwill towards America. Does that not sit with our interest? Is that not in just definitionally in America's interest? Especially when we have people like China and other bad actors, Russia, who are looking to also kind of sidle up to these other countries and maybe get influence in there as well. So isn't it us cutting off aid to these people only helping China and Russia?
No, I would say it depends on what it is. And I don't think cutting off diversity, equity, and inclusion training to Serbia in any way helps China. I honestly, I think it's the opposite. I think like aligning ourselves with these programs that we know don't work more hurts America. Like that's what I mean. It depends on what the specific aid program is and whether or not we should cut it. But it seems like a majority of these, whether it be something I consider just wasteful, like a DEI initiative overseas, or an LGBT or a gay comic book, sorry, not a trans comic book, whatever it is, I don't.
Education comic book.
Or what about
an education comic book?
You keep focusing on
phrase it.
You keep focusing on this.
Even if it's an education comic book, I don't think that we have to have a priority, a hierarchy of what's important to us.
You gotta let him respond.
Say again.
You gotta let him respond once you make the point.
No, he can respond. I'm saying a hierarchy of priorities, and I don't see any of these things being top priority.
Sure. Why is it then that like they were cutting like PEPFAR and stuff? Like you keep focusing on the.
I have PEPFAR. I have it here. We could talk about it. That's the Presidential Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief.
Yeah.
Is that the one? Why did they cut it? I don't know. Maybe they found some fraud or abuse in there. Do you have evidence that they didn't?
So you cut the whole program? Evidence that they didn't?
Well, they cut it. So that's the evidence that I'm citing, that there was fraud and abuse. Do you have evidence that that's incorrect?
That's not how evidence works. I don't even know how you could. That's the dumbest like statement you could possibly make. Like,
well, this is a waste, fraud, and abuse program that cut it.
Yeah, but right? it wasn't, because Doge did not find any waste, fraud, or abuse. They just identified programs that the administration was ideologically opposed to. That's not what waste, fraud, and abuse is.
But to them, that's wasteful.
Okay, if you're
I gotta ask. Okay, I gotta ask.
No, that's not what waste means.
Saying a journalist can't lie.
Andrew, I gotta ask. If the next 2028 comes around, we get President AOC, and she makes a group called the Pedophile Finders and Arresters, and they go out and they arrest Trump and they arrest all the Republicans. Is that evidence that the people they arrest are pedophiles? Would that be sufficient evidence to you?
No, but if
Okay,
they
so
start
why is it
arresting people,
sufficient
hold
evidence to
on,
you
hold on.
that
I
the
debate the
Doge calling
moderator
itself
too.
a
If they
anti-fraud
start
racist
arresting
abuse
people and
and then
saying
cutting
these
it is
people are
fraud?
pedophiles, then we can then look at those people and see if those claims are true. They still did arrest people that they said were pedophiles. The government did still shut down these programs, and you guys looked it up. You're trying to like get it on a technicality and say, oh, it's educational and it just had a gay character. It's not a transgender comic.
Technicality.
So you're even admitting that it's real.
It's not a
You're even
technicality. That's
admitting
the
it's real.
purpose.
I'm saying we think it's wasteful. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but you've not proven waste, and you said you would investigate the alleged rapist
That's what we're doing.
arrests, but you have not investigated and proven waste or fraud or abuse. It just cut medical relief for people with AIDS around the globe. That does actually build soft power.
Let's just use the example of the comic book thing. I think it's a pretty dumb example, but let's just use it real quick.
Why don't we use PEPFAR? We were talking about PEPFAR.
Well, we've been talking about both.
Yeah, let's talk. We haven't talked about PEPFAR yet, and I want to. So go ahead.
Okay, so fine. Okay, well, what is the PEPFAR thing again here? What did y'all just say? I was ready to go with a whole different argument, but whatever.
AIDS
okay.
prevention. AIDS prevention. In the third world, it's like life or death kind of thing. Medication.
Yeah, cool. I mean, so it's boring. Yeah, well,
nobody else can pay for it. Only us.
Yeah, I mean, we're the only country. I know that the argument they're going to make is, oh, we don't want other countries to step in and do it because that's going to us give up the soft power. But I mean, like, listen. Here's the thing. Yeah, it's sad these people got AIDS, but like, did they have the sex themselves? Maybe most of the time, yes. Most of the time they did. I'm not going to say everyone was a product of not a consensual sex that got AIDS from war-torn countries. Sure, some of them probably got that way too. That's sad, right? Here's the deal. These are war-torn countries with populations that live there, right? It's not. Listen, we're not just some global police force as much as people want us to be. We have debt. We have other issues. We have issues here at home. We have problems. There's other countries that are rising in power. Russia and China. I hear about it all the time from people. Multipolarity. It's coming, right? And so, like, if that's the case, then why are we the only ones that are going to sit here and spend our money? It seems like they're having us throw money in a black hole that's never going to sit here and help us out. These countries still hate us because of religion, because we're infidels, for all sorts of other reasons, because propaganda, etc., etc. And then you still want us to throw money at this problem, and it's not helping us at all. And then when I go, hey,
you gotta let them respond.
Well, sure.
So you have not actually substantiated that doesn't help us at all. In fact,
you haven't substantiated
and that PEPFAR does actually not only it has saved lives, like over 100,000 lives, even since it was cut like a year ago, right? But also PEPFAR is the one area because it's a health-based thing. It's one of the easiest to quantify a little bit. It gets journalist coverage, and it's when we have the clearest idea. Has actually increased public perceptions of America abroad and at home. Like, it gets positive coverage, and that's one of the things that leads to soft power.
What countries is this in? Are they predominantly Christian?
PEPFAR is pretty global. It's pretty complicated. It's like one of the bigger, more complicated things. Yeah.
Right. But where AIDS is mainly located is in what areas?
I think Sub-Saharan Africa was the huge focus on it, but like Bush even got a ton of.
Now, what is America's popularity in Sub-Saharan Africa, where it's a bunch of Muslim extremists and extreme Christian like groups fighting each other?
Well,
would you say
higher with PEPFAR than without?
They hate us anyway.
Why should they hate
us? We have to pay for them too.
Okay,
what type of masochism?
I want them to not hate us.
Okay, you guys, hold on. We got to give the ball to ShesRight and Destiny to have their say.
Arguably, the AIDS meds is helping these people.
Andrew, not Andrew. Sorry.
I like supporting programs that make people not hate us.
Decide for a minute. And you start talking? What is
going
on?
Because you keep cutting us off right when we
I don't cut you off. You talk for 10 minutes.
No, wait. Okay, go ahead.
Just give the ball to them for a little bit.
Yeah. So, there are some countries that are led by evil governments. Fuck them. I don't support them or make apologies for them. This is a program that saves lots of lives and improves their attitudes towards America. This is part of resolving their hatred of us. Whereas, like, war does not make people like you a lot of time. This is one of those parts that's. And I believe we should agree here. This is a problem we want to solve. This is something that is helping solve it. So
if they stay alive longer, they can spend more money, right? They can work harder. That's something that happens, right? That's
sure, potentially.
Okay, so if these countries are countries that don't like us with governments that are evil, we're paying to keep evil governments, countries, people alive, supplying them economically with physical soldiers and bodies for their economy. Why the fuck would we want to do that?
Isn't that what Donald Trump is about to do with Iran?
Because economically developed countries liberalize.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're bombing the shit out of Iran. I guess their leadership would probably disagree, considering they're hiding in holes. But sure,
Trump's about to give Iran more money than they've ever had in the history of them.
Go ahead, Destiny. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, Trump's about to give Iran the sweetest deal that's ever had in the history of the existence of that country. But
we don't know what the deal is going to be yet. I know you keep trying to bring it here because you don't want to debate the point, but I'll say like the deal's not over.
They never are. Isn't that kind of crazy that none of them ever are?
I'm sure you've bought in a house before or something. You get disclosures throughout the deal, and they're different every time, and they're never the same as the deal at the end. So I'm not going to call the game like in the middle.
I'm not familiar with that. Where what you negotiate on a house for 10 years and the conditions are constantly changing.
Disclosures change during the process of working out the deal, and then the last one is the final deal. That's how it always works. So I don't know.
Just to be clear, this has nothing to do. I don't know why you would even make that analogy. Nothing like how Trump negotiates is like a normal.
Work.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you get initial disclosures on a deal, and then it changes. You keep getting new disclosures throughout the process, showing you the updated changes until you get the final disclosures. That is how deals work. And
where are they then? Where are all these deals that Trump has worked out? You realize he hasn't made a single fucking one, right?
That's what I'm saying. We're not going to call it in the middle. Why don't instead of rooting for America to fail and calling it before it's over, why don't we just wait and see how it plays out?
What were the deals that he got in his first administration for the 4 years there?
But that's not what we're discussing now. I'm saying is why don't we? Yeah, because you keep moving the goalposts around.
I'm asking for any deals. He said he's making this how you make deals. He didn't make any. He didn't make any. He hasn't made any. What can I evaluate? There's none to evaluate.
And again, you're like moving off the prompt because you know this stuff that we're bringing up is wasteful. You know it.
No.
You admitted that it's an existential threat, and there's no basis for which we can just keep throwing money down the drain. And you have
Trump
no
continues to do it.
Doing anything in any of these places. You said, why should we send to places that have evil warlords? Well, I brought up Sudan. So can we cut Sudan and can we cut the DEI in Serbia?
If you knew about this, we already have stopped funding food for Sudan and South Sudan, which are two of the highest need areas, by the way.
Can we keep?
But you haven't looked into this, so you're just lying.
Can we keep the AIDS program and cut the DEI? Like, can we?
But
cut
you didn't
some
do
of
that.
them?
None of you guys did that. You cut it all. So that makes it seem like you don't really give a fuck.
With you, I'm debating you. Is that okay with you?
If there are programs that you want to cut because either the money's not going towards where it's supposed to be going towards, I think it's totally fine to evaluate it and cut it. But that's not what they did.
Thank you. So can we then
but
work
you cut the evaluation mechanism
for which to track it better before we open up?
That's USAID, dipshit.
That's what USAID does. That's what the program is.
Dipshit is that it wasn't working. That's our whole point.
How do you know?
How do I know? Because it's going to places with chattel slavery. I have a pretty good idea that they're not using the money efficiently.
Hold on. I gotta make a little money.
Is the new ballroom? Wait, real quick. Just a quick question.
You send money to people that are slavers.
Quick question. Is the new ballroom? Can we characterize the new ballroom?
He wants to give money to slavers.
Can we?
Desperately.
Oh my God, the filibustering. Can we qualify the new ballroom as waste, fraud, and abuse? Is that okay?
What does that have to do with the?
I'm just asking. Can that be waste, fraud, and abuse?
I don't think it's wasteful.
I do.
Should the White House not have a nice ballroom? I'm not saying it's necessary.
No. I'm saying it's wasteful. So can I say, you said that it's an existential threat. You said it was an existential threat that our debt and deficit is so high. So why the fuck are we tearing down parts of the White House that were perfectly fine before and wasting money on building a ballroom?
Foreign policy. We can talk about those things, and I agree with you. I said domestic and foreign.
Yeah, let me read some super chats because I gotta make a little money, okay?
Sure.
And then we'll get back to it. We'll get a little breather for everyone. $5 from the average Jake L to say, Mr. Mooten said we should donate. Thank you, Mr. Mooten, for supporting other base liberals. Well, yes, you should donate. Mr. Mooten is entirely correct. Thank you for the $5. $5 from Stormwolf. Why bring up elections? Is Gibbs implying no USAID led to pro-American governments being elected, or that the consequences won't happen?
Sorry, what was the question?
$2 from It's Fishy. What does Stephen Bennell 2 think about 6-7? Okay, thank you. $2, I guess. $20 from Pondering Politics. For after the debate, in light of recent Trump financial disclosures, the grand debut of the Qatar Plane Air Force One, and the many, many Trump family government contracts, can the MAGA folks weigh in on Trump corruption?
Gibbs or me? You can go, Gibbs.
I mean, oh no. I don't give a shit about the Qatar plane.
Hold on, you understand that, like, it was like $600 million, and
yeah, I mean,
as like
sure, and then the Air Force decked it out and cleared it out, and they were already in the process, if I recall, of talking about replacing the Air Force One with a new one anyway. So this actually probably saved us money in the long run. So, like, hey, I guess we don't like taking gifts that save us money and are going to protect future presidents in perpetuity. Okay. Oh no, it's fraud, it's corruption. No, it's not. But whatever.
Take a look at Pelosi or Ilhan Omar.
What about Pelosi? What about Pelosi?
I know she's the best trader I've ever seen. She's better than what is it, like Murdoch?
Her
every
husband is a
trader, like,
hedge
put
fund.
together.
Her husband
She's
is
the
a
best one.
her husband is a hedge fund manager. That's his
He's
job
the best hedge
professionally.
fund manager
In the
Not just
world?
he's the best one.
Then why
If
has
you
he
use
only made?
autopilot,
Why
you
is
can
the
use
money
same
he's
things.
made? Why have they made a pittance compared to what Donald Trump has made in like the last year and a half?
You know why? Because it depends on how much you put up as to how much you earn back. So you have to look at the percentage at which he's right, which is extremely high. We can look it up.
As the president of the United States, he's making good predictions on world economies. Wow, go figure.
So
what do you
you're
call
saying
that?
that
What do
Nancy
you call
Pelosi,
that?
there's
Isn't that
no
open? Isn't that
insider trading?
corruption?
Is that your claim?
It's never been proven, has it?
Are you saying she's not insider trading?
I don't believe so. I don't think there's any good reason to believe so.
Fair enough. Okay, so we disagree.
$10 from
Do you have
Mitch
evidence
Fishy.
of it?
I said we disagree. Do you have evidence that she's not based on her track record?
What is
So-
her, what
so
is
I
her
know you
husband's
think
track
that's funny,
record?
but we're
What,
not
hold
saying
on.
provide that
What,
evidence.
what,
You can look at something
Okay,
called
filibuster.
trends.
Okay.
Filibuster.
You
These guys are the ultimate.
go ahead.
What is Pelosi's? I'm curious now. What is Pelosi's track record? Like, what are her average annual returns or
I
gains?
said we could pull it up. I
Well,
already said I didn't have the
I will
exact
say this:
number.
it's very high. But I will say this, guys: if you want, you can use the autopilot app and invest. It'll make trades proportionally directly into with the Pelosi's. And my investment has done fantastic since I've done that, for the record. So check that out.
Okay. $10 from It's Vishy. I know Gibbs and the other chucklefuck are in love with Trump and his foreign policy, but then are against USAID, which was a huge driver of our soft power. These guys know nothing about politics, man. Well, thank you for the $10.
Can I respond to that? Because
You
I
can.
wasn't for Trump's foreign policy. I made that quite clear. Gibbs is. I wasn't. So that's incorrect.
Okay. $5 from Radell. Caring about the national debt is fake woke if you voted for Trump. Did Mr. Fisted vote? It's Mr. Fist, first of all. Vote for Trump that is ruining our national debt and budget deficit? I believe he said he did. It's Vishy. Dragon D's nuts does not know who inspector generals are. Legit, the independent oversight of multiple agencies.
Very good.
10 Headless Chicken. I can't read that one. But thank you for the $10. Yeah, you hold on. Moderators, can we anyway. Potter Politics for $5. Ask this dumb fuck in the hat why I'm more likely to find a Confederate flag at a GOP rally or at a GOP household if the parties didn't switch.
Oh, they didn't switch.
That would
It
be.
didn't switch.
Okay, so why would we be more likely to find a Confederate flag at a GOP rally or at a GOP household if the parties didn't switch?
Well, you wouldn't, because the SPLC is
Wouldn't.
going to be funding those agencies. That's why they funded, the Unite the Right. That's why we're finding out all sorts of other crazy stuff, all the time. That's why we had David Duke supporting the Clintons. That's why we have Richard Spencer saying he votes Democrat. That's why we have Nick Fuentes claiming that he's a Democrat. The party switch never happened. That's a lie. We could go into that, but that's not the topic of the day. That's something you can debate for hours on end.
What do you think? One day they were like, okay, let's switch now. All your positions, we're just going to switch them over, and we're going to take. Like, does
Well, if you're
that,
at history
does that
books,
Yeah,
sound
yeah, I mean, if you do
realistic?
it-
Does
yeah,
that
if you do
sound
look at
like
history-
something that
What
happened?
sounds more realistic? Their positions basically
Only one
switching or
Republican
evolving, or that
came
all
with
the
them
people that
after
lived in the southern states all moved to the northern states, and all the people in the northern states
They
all moved to the southern
coast.
states?
They moved to the urban areas. That's not true. What you're saying isn't true. The Democrats were the party. So you're saying Republicans weren't the party of Lincoln? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that that the southern states all voted for the Democratic Party.
Lincoln's your guy, not our guy.
I'm just saying.
Which party
Hold on, I'm just saying that in
Sure,
order to
sure.
effect the same
Sure.
change, you would have had to have all these people moving and swapping homes.
Yeah, people moved.
Yeah, I mean, who in 2026? Which party is saying who's going to pick our crops?
New York City.
Okay. I got more. I gotta get through them.
Huge demographic change in the last 20 years.
I gotta get through them.
Huge.
Stay in school, kids. There are cool
General
Peruvian
Grievous
comic
for
books about it.
$2.
That's the demographic
what's
change
your
in New
highest
York
level of
State. Stay
education,
home
by
to
the
stay
way?
in school.
Okay, I gotta make money, gang.
Sure.
General Grievous for $2. Dragon Fist is fine with $300 billion to Iran. I don't think he is. $5 from Corneo. These conservatives are deeply unserious. Please find better guests.
Oh my God.
$5 from Trevekia. Does Admiral Gibbs and Dragon Fist feel Trump was properly allocating funds when proposing the $1.776 billion for the anti-weaponization /fund?
Every question is just what about isn't, what about isn't. If you want to have a debate on any of those issues, you could tell Mr. Whick. I'm sure Destiny and ShesRight will come back and we could debate any of those issues. We're debating this issue, which is USAID foreign policy. So that's what
Listen, I'm not despite my rep, I'm not a MAGA guy. I don't like that policy for the 1.76 trillion. That's a bad one. Not every policy is going to be one that I like. That's okay. I didn't like that one. Yeah, okay.
Which is
They got me.
Persona for $2. Link for the comics. Asking for a friend. I'll put it in my Discord. Scorned. Thank you for the 5-month membership. These people shouldn't be allowed to vote. Okay. $5 from It's Fishy. Makes claim, quote unquote. Show us, dude. This is a problem. We don't know if it's true or not.
Can I get, why is it that all of those Confederate statues, I guess, were those all put up then by Democrats? Why is it the Republicans are the ones who always cry when they get torn down?
Tear them down. I don't give a shit. I mean, like, this is
Either.
once again, this is
Crazy
like
how
hold on.
Crazy.
We already
Crazy how that
caught the
works, huh?
Hold on. Well, hold on. It's not crazy. I just brought this up. We just had congressional testimony that the SPLC was funding recruitment, flag burnings, and clothing for the KKK and the neo-Nazis. So yeah, I would say that secretly. Why? Well, allegedly it's for informers, but one of the bitches was sleeping with one of the.
She was banging the dude. I was just going to say that. She was
crazy. I guess I don't. It's crazy that somebody that's so anti-racism would be banging King Dick racist. Like, doesn't make much sense there, unless liberals and leftists are the actual party of racism.
So that's not
like,
ideological motivation.
What he's saying.
Like it is in 2026, they're still the same ones wanting to have a subclass to pick their crops. Who's going to pick our crops? You know who said that? 1860s. Guess who said that? The Dems. Crazy how that didn't really change.
Okay.
Crazy how all those leaders I mentioned.
Okay, you guys, this was like a $5 question, and you're giving like $50 answers.
Yeah, I mean,
$5 from Kyle Link. Awesome to see Dragon Fist has pivoted from karate to debate. I'm afraid of what any more karate chops to the head would do to him.
That would hurt.
$5 from Black Pilled Kiwi. You aborted a third of Gen Z? Should have been half. Okay. $2 from the Witch's Persona. She's right. Name checked out. Paul Cast 5 or 6 says government-funded trans comic USAID orgies for all. Okay. $10 from It's Fishy. What are your thoughts on OBBBA, and TCGA? He cares more about his minor funding compared to cuts to healthcare, Medicare, and ballooning our debt and deficit. You want to respond to that quickly?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've moved positions recently on some funding here. You know, now that we know how much fraud is going to all these programs in Minnesota and California, maybe if we restructured them and relooked at them, we could actually fund some of these things, maybe help Americans. But we won't know until we use Doge to gut out the fraud and all this other issues and use the Justice Department to look into these corruption.
No, we'll get to it later, but
thanks for that tee off. Appreciate it.
I'm really curious what if you think Doge was financially positive for us.
Doge has failed. Doge is done. I don't know why we're even pretending like anything different. But
what's the chick that's the oh god damn it, the press conference girl? What's her name?
Caroline Levitt.
Thank you, appreciate it. I don't know why I'm blanking, but Caroline Levitt just literally gave out a speech, like a point where she listed 8 things, like last week, about the Doge just cut. So they're still working. This is like a fake news thing that y'all keep doing, saying Doge doesn't exist anymore. They're definitely still doing things. Pete Hegseth also quoted Doge finding stuff recently. So I guess y'all are just making shit up.
Yeah, Doge was majorly disbanded. They were not really finding anything significant anymore. There might be some people working in departments doing ordinary cuts or whatever, but we were initially promised $2 trillion in cuts by Elon. Then that went down to $1 trillion. Then it went down to $100 billion. And then it kind of sort of ended up in them just cutting programs that they didn't like because they couldn't find any waste, fraud, and abuse, or they would just quote things from OAGs that had already found some, either wasteful spending or stuff that needed to be addressed. And then now we just have it as part of the government where every now and then they'll just say, well, if they fire somebody, we can give Doge credit for it, which is actually just because these departments can take care of themselves. So I don't know why you need to make another bureaucratic department to tell other departments how to spend their money. It sounds like the dumbest thing ever. It was dumb, and it continues to be dumb. And if it exists in any form today, it is probably definitionally waste, fraud, and abuse.
Okay. $10 from Lawson Harrison. Destiny and Alice should start a channel where they talk about ranching and martial arts so that these regards can understand the feeling. Okay. $5 from Keep Your Bill Steins. For our martial artist, how much or by how much did the USAID cuts reduce the national debt? I should have expected it was a big amount, no?
Well, the national debt is, I don't know if this is a trick question. The national debt is not going down at all. It pretty much never gets reduced. We don't pay on the principle of it. This is a separate issue. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't cut things. We have to cut things to get to the point where it starts to come down, right? We have to spend less. Do you have another solution? People are saying we shouldn't vote. We're not even saying we want people to get hurt or we want to cut all aid or we don't want soft power. We're not saying any of those things. We're just saying let's check. Maybe we can keep the AIDS prevention program and cut the DEI in Serbia. We're being reasonable.
The two
and
easiest things
consistent.
are the two easiest things are fully fund the IRS. Stop trying to gut it all the time. It's the only agency that actually makes money for the government. It's literally your IRS, and then get rid of the Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. That should massively decrease the amount of money that the government was making. So obviously we can't pay down our debt because we're not making any money.
You're agreeing with my premise that we have an existential problem here. So how we get to cutting, it doesn't matter. We have to cut. And if we have things that are wasteful, whether it's my interpretation of wasteful or your interpretation of wasteful, they have to be on the table at least that we can discuss them. And that's what we're trying to do. I'm not saying cut every program. That's not my position. I'm not defending domestic positions because that's not the prompt. But we can come back and talk about that another time. I'm sure there's many domestic programs that we can cut. But not one piece of evidence has been provided that any of these programs are helping anybody. It's just what you guys think they're doing. No direct evidence that the money's going where it's supposed to be going. I'm citing issues like California, where we see humanitarian programs where all the money gets wasted. Why would it be any different in sub-Saharan Africa? Only a moron would think it's going to run more efficiently over there.
$5 question, just FYI.
Yeah.
Like you guys are
Same question over and over.
Yeah.
Impactcounter.com.
$5 from Benji Boy. To the crazy Republican, why do you think 32,000 is breaking the U.S. budget, but Republicans have tried trickle-down economics 4 times now? Please explain. Well, I think he just did. Echem for $5. U.S. debt is an existential problem. Given that, why not focus on closing the tax gap for $700 billion versus $125 million for USAID? Literally 5,600 times more effective.
Well, that's not the prompt. Like, I can only... Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Greg Yo for $5. Why does Andrew keep claiming straw man when the other side is accurately summing up his points? Dead Dodger Jim for $5. Tell Purple Joker and Hat Guy in witness protection, did Trump save or waste money on the reflecting pool?
I would assume that he didn't save money. However, I wouldn't call having nice things in the Capitol a waste either. So, I mean, is it a priority for Papa Gibbs? No, it's not a real high priority. However, I don't really see the pennies that he spent on that as wasteful, and I would rather that go to that than, I guess, some comic in Peru. I don't really give a shit about the comic, but hey, let's let the fucking pool be nice. It doesn't help, though, the lefties over here making it worse by destroying it again after it just got fixed, but that's neither over there.
Not taking that.
No evidence of that.
$2 from It's Fishy. He needs to vote Dem if he's scared of debt. $5 from the average Jake. Steven Seagal Jr. must have lost all his bullshito fights. His brain damage is on full display. He never confirmed that the moon exists. Does it? Okay. $5 from Benji Boy. 11 of the last 13 recessions were started by Republicans. Since you care about the budget, I assume you're voting Democrat now. $5 from Stormwolf. So we care about cutting the debt. So we focus on 1% of the budget and vote for Republicans when Democrats always decrease the deficit. $10 from Pondering Politics. Does he disavow Trump now? Will he commit to voting for Democrats in the midterms and in 2028?
You want me to answer?
Will you commit?
I won't commit. I have to see who the nominees are. Dems
Okay,
are voting.
sure. Well, let me ask. What is one Democratic nominee you would vote for?
And don't say Graham Planter.
I'm not going to make a statement about a Democrat I would vote for at this time.
You can't.
I'll do one. I like Fetterman. Do you like Fetterman?
I do like Fetterman, but I'm still not. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. You can't think of a single Democrat you would vote for? Not one?
I just don't want to make the statement that I support any Democratic candidates without fully investigating. But Fetterman is reasonable, at least. Seems to be more reasonable.
Can I just real quick, because we keep saying this, so we can at least just look for PEPFAR. So Bush launched this in 2003, and then it was... Look at that. Just bring this chart up. If we look at AIDS deaths in Africa or HIV deaths, AIDS deaths in Africa, you can kind of see pretty clearly, right, as it's capping out at, go figure, around 2003, and then for a year or two afterwards, and then they start to come down.
Is this the one you're sending me here?
Is it the link? Scroll down to, there's cute little lines or whatever.
Yeah. This?
Yeah, scroll down. Sorry, those aren't cute lines. Those are boring lines. There's your cute lines.
Oh, is this cute lines? I don't know what a cute line is. I'm gonna.
That's a cute line.
Okay, it's a cute line. Got it. Okay, what are we looking at?
Well, so I mean, like in terms of estimates, if you give like credit to PEPFAR for the decrease in deaths here, right? People get up to 25 million lives here that are not dead, not people that aren't dead as a result of PEPFAR. So I don't understand why we keep saying it doesn't do anything. USA doesn't help. Nobody's doing anything to prevent deaths. We don't have any evidence of it preventing deaths. I mean, that's like one we can go into. That's probably the largest program that people would say there, and it's another one that the Trump admin attacked.
So did we go in and like jack these people with AIDS?
Hold on. In the chart, if you're looking at it, and you can pull it up by clicking the watch stream, it shows from about 2002 where they peak, and it starts dropping drastically till about 2022 where there's a short increase. And 2023 is the least, I guess the latest data we have. Destiny's argument is that this was credited to PEPFAR, that PEPFAR helped reduce these deaths. Is this evidence that this helps reduce deaths and helps people?
Listen, the problem is, once again, is this is no evidence this helps the United States. Y'all can argue, oh, deaths is good, it builds goodwill, all these things. One, I got to be honest, unless we were the ones over there injecting these people with AIDS, I got the world's smallest violin here for them otherwise, because like I don't care. Maybe I'll be the bad guy.
Of the 25 million saved, 7 million infants were prevented from acquiring HIV at birth.
It's sad.
Well, is it their fault? Is it the baby's fault when they die of AIDS?
No, it's not the baby's fault, but it's the parents' fault, and it's the government's fault. It's the government's fault. Like, I mean, do you disagree that their leadership and the people there that are exhibiting these behaviors and doing these things, it's their fault for engaging in these actions? Was it okay? And I think once again, I'm not going to bash the LGBTQ, right? But gay shower complexes where they had the bathhouses was credited back in the day with causing the spread of HIV among people. And originally, people were like, oh, this is like a very mean thing to say about it, but it's because the unprotected sex and the habits was spreading amongst this community, and once they had more sexual education, that slowed it down. I would argue, okay, hey, it's still on them. It's still on them for engaging in that behavior.
Do you think it'd be useful to spend money on helping to give them sexual education?
No, because once again, that's going to give economic benefits and military power to countries that don't like us, and this goodwill is not being extended. They're going to be, oh, wow, thanks
so
for the young
sexual education on safe sex for homosexuals is going to increase their military power?
And yeah, with your dying at 40 from AIDS, do you think you're able to fight longer than if you're healthily, if you're don't have AIDS at all? If you're homosexual and
PEPFAR was running for 20 years. Which one of these sub-Saharan African countries were going to war with us?
Well, we see Nigeria. Did Nigeria get any of it? Because we first fought in Boko Haram. We had a 6-country war that we were backing up Boko Haram with Chad and all these other countries. We're at Djibouti right now. We're sending people out. Like, that's where AFRICOM is. There's a reason why we have AFRICOM.
Which one of these countries are going to war with us? I
mean, none of them, but they could be going to war with our allies, like Rwanda. Okay. Countries go to war. There was just the Great African War, the Great African War too. Was those things that happened? Yeah. Did we have countries that we were allied with in those regions to some extent? Have economic engagements with? Yes, absolutely. So it's not just directly us. So when you're saying, oh, let's give all this money to all these countries that are helping, you don't have any evidence this economically didn't help our enemies, which is much more likely it did help them to some capacity, especially when we just give this willy-nilly indiscriminately to mass populations.
Okay. $5 from Aliceness. Wow. So not only is Trump failing on no new wars, but he also failed at being the amazing negotiator since he got bamboozled by Israel. He kinda sucks. Okay. $5 from Tyrion Grayman. Whick, can you pull up maritime traffic and zoom to the strait? We'll do it later. Not for $5, I can't. Okay. You gotta add a zero there. $5 from Aliceness. He changed Department of Defense to the Department of War. What the fuck did you think was going to happen? Are you that naive?
It was after he was elected.
Okay.
It was.
I mean, yeah, true. Okay, real serious for 100 in Argentina money. I don't know how much that is. I'm Argentinian, voted for Milei, and Reddit mod Joker is straight up BSing. Argentina supports the Iran war and Israel diplomatically, but they never sent shit. We can barely finance ourselves.
I do have the quote on that, and I was mistaken. The quote was by analysts would have amounted to about 2 ships being sent. That is all.
Okay, so you basically made up a story.
No, I didn't make it up. I just was going off the quotes that I had, and I was incorrect, and I just admitted that I was incorrect, which was what the analyst said. So, like, hey, I'm not trying to sit here and lie in bad faith, like whatever. But Argentina has openly said they would support, and I have their foreign minister on video. I can share it where he says that he would do any military support that we need if we asked.
Okay, $10 says evil for evil Elron to say this isn't a forum for open discourse anymore. In my opinion, it's just platforming two liars and relying on Destiny to counter them. Just tell the MAGAs to self-delete and move on. This is silly.
I feel like she's right. It's countering more than I have.
Dude.
Talking points.
Listen to that comment. Self-delete. What did we say? That's a lie. So we should self-delete. You don't
Well,
see.
you said there was a transgender comic book. You said that quite a lot.
I thought it was a gay comic book.
Like,
So I should self-delete over it.
well, no, but what you asked was what was the lie, so I answered that question, and then you
also the boat
question.
thing.
Do that shit
Not
a
a
lot.
lie.
Well, that wasn't a lie.
It is a lie.
It's not a lie.
It is a lie.
The
You
boat thing was
confidently
a
made a
lie.
claim you had no
Right.
evidence for whatsoever, and then you
He
talked over
pulled it up. He
and
found the comic book in Peru. He found the price of it. It's not a lie. You're just categorizing it differently and calling it a lie. That doesn't make it a lie.
It wasn't a transgender comic book.
Okay, what is a transgender comic book? What's the specific definition?
I don't know, bud. You brought up.
Oh, that's what I
the thing.
thought. Can we
Hold on,
keep
what would
going?
you consider a transgender comic book?
I don't know. I'm not the one like
If
trying
a
to
comic book
categorize
has
it and
a
call you a
killer-
liar. I thought we could like give a little good faith here. Like it wasn't a lie.
If it was good faith, he would have researched it first.
Did research
wait.
it. That's why I have it written down.
You wrote down something wrong.
Oh
Okay.
no.
Okay,
be a lie
let
then.
me keep going. I'm going to do a couple more, then we're going to get back to the discussion, then I'll read the rest later. $10 from Real Serious to say, Whick, please tell Diabetic Joker he is absolutely lying. I'm Argentina, and the opposition here would have absolutely flamed him for that. Okay, fair enough. He did admit he was wrong. $10 from A Call 92. If these guys think Trump is our best option for president and Israel let him by the nose, shouldn't we accept our Jewish overlords? Seems they know better than our administration. Okay. With that, I guess this is to Destiny's side. How do you guys deal with this, right? Like when people will just what is your best positive argument for USAID? Why should we have it?
For like an adult conversation or for a conversation for an adult conversation, the United States is the world hegemonic leader. And we have to have good relationships with a bunch of people around the world for a variety of reasons. We want them to be amenable to our culture so that we get along better, so that we can make better trade deals, so that people are more likely to loop us in on intel-related stuff, whether that means catching terrorists or cooperating or being a part of things that we used to recognize like Five Eyes or NATO or whatever. Like having more cooperation with all these other countries where we're invested and interested in so many parts of the world is a good thing. And USAID is just like an easy freebie. It's just like a thing that you do that can give you a whole bunch of goodwill from other countries that are in dire straits in some ways, and it's not that big of an expense for us. So as long as we're not like breaking the bank doing this, and as long as we're not I guess like diverting money to terrorists, like it's just an obvious easy freebie gimme thing. It's like throwing money at an IRA or a 401k. Like these seem like obvious investments even before you get into the moral argument of we have had like such tremendous advancements in medicine and aid delivery and everything else. Why would we not, if we have the ability to invest in this, why would we not do this? And then on the other side, for the people that attack it, it's very obvious that they just take like a brain dead approach to like anything with the word trans, even if it's transgenic mice research, but there's nothing to do with trans people, or if it has the word DEI or anything even in it, even if it has nothing to do with diversity, equity, or inclusion, they just want to cut all of it because they're on some rampage through the government. But then they always cite that the reason why they want to do this is because of stuff related to the budget. But these guys are always voting for the largest spenders in all of U.S. history. Again, I can't take somebody seriously who says that Donald Trump has a debt that is like 1/3 of our current U.S. debt. We owe it to Donald Trump, but that the cuts to USAID were somehow necessary and somehow help the budget, especially when Trump is like on a rampage against all these programs anyway, right? When he talks about shithole countries and funding all these other things, like it's obviously like to anybody that's not. It's obviously an intensely ideologically motivated thing. It has nothing to do with saving money or anything else. If it did, why the fuck didn't he cut it in term one, right? He was the president back then. He could have done the same fucking thing, but he didn't. These are all just worthless, empty talking points from worthless, empty talking heads that are just trying to like cut parts of the government because all they can do is destroy and they can't build anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty funny coming from someone who's a self-described liberal, a self-described progressive, which can only exist on the back of a strong conservative society. Like exactly what you described, everything you just described is exactly what you're doing. And your position, again, a straw man of our position, because what you said was the same thing that I said, which is that
Wait,
yes,
justify
there
that
might
first
be
part.
good programs there. We
What
need
does
to
the
make sure they're
conservative have
not
to do with
being
anything?
wasteful.
What does the
That's
conservative have to do with
same thing that I
anything?
said. You just said it and called me a retard.
Wait, what does the conservative have to do with
That
anything?
goes to show you can't even follow the conversation accurately.
What does the conservative have to do with anything in the beginning?
And call me a retard. That's it.
What is the conservative
I said
part?
the exact same thing as you.
What is the
exact same
conservative?
thing.
What does the conservative part at the beginning have to do with anything?
You're not the because you said that all we can do is destroy things when literally all liberalism is a cancer on conservatism. It can't exist on its own. There's nothing for it to make more liberal. Do you understand that concept?
No, because conservatism
for which to progress before you can have progressivism, right?
Tell me where our culture comes
or no.
No. Where does our culture come from?
You don't have to have a society to progress before you can progress.
Where does our conservatism does not give you a fucking society? What societies do fucking conservatism give us?
You have to have a society for which to progress to have progressivism.
No, shut the. I'm sorry. Am I arguing with Merriam-Webster right now and ChatGPT 2.5?
You don't understand this. It's fine. Here comes all the insults because you're
no. I'm asking you.
You're making my points for me.
Yeah, keep filibustering. Keep going. Hold on. Where does our culture come?
You are making my points. You're saying the exact same thing.
Keep filibustering.
The exact same thing I'm saying.
Yep. Where does our culture come from? Liberals or conservatives? Who makes the movies? Who makes the music?
Yes, there are definitely more liberals in Hollywood.
More? Like 99 to 1, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I'm not saying we need liberals and conservatives. I never said we didn't.
Who makes...
Again, it's a straw man.
Keep filibustering.
It's a straw man.
Keep filibustering. Who makes our money? What are our most prosperous cities?
Saying that it's a straw man is not a filibuster.
Keep filibustering. Who are our most prosperous cities?
Is it the red? Straw man. I'm not defending that argument.
Keep filibustering.
How is that a filibuster? I'm responding.
Where is all of our money made? Where does our economy come from in the United States?
Can we stay on the prompt here? If you wanted to have another debate, okay, because you have to.
I'm good. I'm satisfied with the answer.
You're making my points for me. Literally, I'm debating you. I'm debating the moderator. I'm debating the chat. I'm debating Google.
There's a reason.
Retard, and you make my points.
Well, there's a reason why we're having mass migration to places like Texas, like Wall Street becoming a thing, because terrible Democrat policies are pushing economic prosperity.
Hold on, Admiral Gibbs, where are you from?
I'm from Texas. Obviously.
Where are you from? What city?
I live in, technically I live in a small-ass town, but I live in San Antonio.
Okay, you live in a small-ass town outside of San Antonio. Do you think that people that are moving from San Francisco to fucking Austin are moving to Texas?
I would say, yeah, they're moving to Texas for the economic boom.
Get the fuck out of here. Yeah. It's the gayest. It's like the second gayest city on the in the United States of America. You're telling me all these people that are moving to Texas. Nobody's moving to Texas. They're moving to fucking Austin, bro, which is San Francisco light. Get the fuck out of here. Oh, they would have come to Texas for all of our conservatism. My God.
Sure. Hold on. Well, how come San Antonio is also one of the biggest leading cities in the United States right now, like for growth? How about Houston and Dallas?
For growth? Because when you start with a population of 57,000, you can only go one direction, which is up. Congratulations.
You know San Antonio is like the 15th biggest city in the United States. It's like a massive city, over 2.8 million people.
Nice.
Yeah, so good try there. Yeah, I mean,
San Antonio, is that a red? Hold on, is that a red city or a blue city? Just curious. There are a lot of conservatives.
Sure, blue city.
Yeah, okay, thank you. Gotcha. All right, okay.
Yeah, that's a good one. Hold on, but that's like once again, you're talking about the
all
city
liberals.
Money,
all liberals. All liberals.
It's not liberals.
It is
not liberals. So Elon Musk is a liberal now?
He was, didn't he hate Trump and everything before Trump got into office? He had to suck up to him to get funding for all of his stupid projects, right?
So, well, then why do you all hate him now? So it's either he's a liberal or he's a conservative or he's on the right lean. I agree that he's a populist, right? I would agree with that sentiment. But like the point is, they vote red right now.
You agree that we shouldn't be wasting money on like South African refugees, right? That's like a total waste of money, right?
Sure, I agree with that.
Okay, kind of weird that Elon Musk was pushing Trump for that, and now we're
Well, I mean, we know why he was pushing for it. He's South African, you know. I mean, listen, hold on. I think you and I would both agree that you're going to look out for your people. I don't know what your people are. I know my people are, right?
Your people? Are you saying Elon Musk has a greater allegiance to South Africa than he does to the United States of America?
No, but you want to help out people that you are.
Oh, okay. But then isn't he kind of like helping out South Africans at the expense of the United States of America? After all this USAID cut being so important, all that, we're bringing in all these South Africans.
I don't want to fund that either.
There you go.
I mean, what's your point? I mean, I think it's reasonable though. I think it's reasonable though, as Elon, to want to go and do that though. Like, I don't think it's unreasonable.
I guess. Look, the reason that we are going to different areas than just strictly USAID, and I just want to explain this a little bit, is because the arguments that you bring up require us to do so. If you bring up that you can't have a culture or you can't have a civilization without conservatism, we have to be able to address that. And yes, addressing that won't be the prompt, but you did bring it up. thus making it something that we should and can discuss. I guess the question to you, Mr. Andrew, how can you conserve something without a society already existing? Like, obviously, you can't progress a society without the
can't.
society existing.
I was only responding to him saying that we like making the claim about us. I didn't bring it up. I was just pointing to him saying that all we do is destroy things when his side is the side of literally anarchy and George Soros and Antifa. Saying that we destroy things is hilarious. But this isn't the prompt, so I'm not going to debate it. If you want to do that, we can debate it with the specific prompt that we're prepared for. That's why Destiny's trying to do this, because he's making the same.
You brought it up by calling him a liberal, so you're lying again.
Okay, but I could just go back to the point before that. Like, why is everything I say a lie to you? It's not a lie. I'm actually being good faith. People in your chat are telling me to self-delete and calling me. So you don't have the moral high ground here by any means.
I mean, this is not a gotcha. Hold on, this is not a gotcha. You not this. I mean, I don't know what you identify as. She's right. Destiny, do you identify as a liberal? I don't know how you identify. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. So he wasn't lying then. Like, what was your point there? She's right. Like,
take that back.
Well, because he was saying it was not about like making it about liberalism when he brought it up again, and then he was refusing blame for that when it backfired again. He's done that.
It was a response. It was a reaction to something that he said.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see. $5 from Robert Paulson. OMG, we have already doubled in Iran what was supposedly saved from cutting USAID. Fist guy is definition of a bad faith actor. Do you want to address that?
I'm honestly trying to be good faith here. I'm hoping maybe Destiny, the moderator, my partner, even She's Right, sees that. I'm not lying. I'm trying to be honest. That is the truth.
I mean, like, this is why, if the way that a good faith person would approach cutting something like USAID is that, one, they would recognize there's a difference between ideological disagreements and like actual waste, fraud, and abuse. That's the first step. If we can't see the difference between that, then that's just crazy. Number one. And then
I did say that.
Okay. And then the second thing is that if we're giving the principal reason as cutting USAID as helping the debt or the deficit, when every other policy that this administration that you support seems to like push for, and all of that increases the debt and the deficit. And then when we look at USAID and we look at some programs at least that I think most people around the planet would think are good, and we're like, we should cut those too, without even trying to see if there's a way to make it more efficient, then it seems like this is just like an ideological lines-driven thing that it has nothing to do with like the amount of people say, like, even if we could show like, 100 million people got saved by PEPFAR, it sounds like that wouldn't be acceptable. You'd just say, I don't care, we should cut it. It's not our responsibility or obligation.
I said to you, we need to verify where the money is going. I said, I'll give you PEPFAR. Can we get rid of all the DEI and transgender and LGBT stuff for now? I even said for now. I said, I don't want anybody to die. I'm not trying to cut things. I'm saying I don't want to just burn the money. And I'm only talking about this money because that's the prompt.
Sure,
if we want to talk about other monies, I will take the same attitude.
Sure, but
I'm not being bad faith. I'm doing exactly what you just said, Destiny.
Government money, all of it,
burning the money, and you never
all of this money is tracked. If you want, it is checked. It already is. It's government money. Government money has the most fucking strings attached to it than any money on the fucking planet. Like, what do you mean? Do you think they literally just like deposit money to a person's bank account and then that's it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Literally, all of the overhead of USAID, which is usually criticized in good faith, is it's inefficient with its administrative overhead. We need to find smarter ways to hire people at a cheaper rate to be doing that oversight. By supporting gutting USAID, you are actually getting rid of the people who would be checking.
No, so you don't understand how logic works. I got you to agree with my premise.
I do.
My premise, right? What was my premise, Destiny? That this is an existential threat. Therefore, things can't be two things at once. It can't be detrimental to our interest to remove things from that are not national security interest. It's very simple. You guys can keep strawmanning the argument.
If you want to play a logic game, if you want to play a logic game, a premise in and of itself is not an argument. And you can't do one.
I just gave you the conclusion.
Yes, one premise and one conclusion is not an argument. That's just a tautology.
I've been trying to do it the whole time. You just strawmanning.
If you want to go deeper, then you would generally talk about the magnitude of your costs, okay?
I have them listed. Every time I go through, you say that's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
I'm not talking about the
$1.5 million advances.
Let me know when you're done filibustering. All right.
It's not filibustering.
It is a filibuster. I'm telling you that the problem is not the cost inside of the random 2 million.
So what was
Go
the first thing
filibuster.
you
Keep
just said
filibustering.
there?
Keep
What was
filibustering.
the first thing
Keep
you just started
filibustering.
with
Keep
there?
filibustering.
What was the first? Can you
Go
repeat
ahead.
the first thing?
I haven't even finished my sentence from it, so you don't even know.
Started over.
If you want to talk about the debt or the deficit, then you would talk about the magnitude of how much different things are costing us. And when the entirety of USAID is anywhere from 30 to 50 billion a year, and the Trump Tax Cuts and Jobs Act is like fucking 300 to 600 billion a year, it makes it weird to say we got to go into the USAID cuts to help us with the debt and the deficit when no one is even talking about the other stuff. That's a very weird thing.
What Destiny is trying to do, because he can't
Oh
find
my
the flaw in the actual logic that I'm laying out, is he's trying to whataboutism. He's pointing to something else that's not the prompt.
it's not.
He's saying, yes, this is a definition of whataboutism.
It literally is
Why
not.
aren't you bringing this up over here when I'm giving you a logical argument that if you already agreed to my premise that this is an existential threat, you can't argue with the logic that we should be trying to cut it down. You basically said that yourself. And since USAID is the prompt, that's what I'm focused on. It's not because because I want people to die or I don't like babies.
What is the existential threat? What is the existential threat?
It's the fucking prompt.
What is the existential threat?
You already agreed to it.
What
dude.
is it? What is the existential threat? I'm just asking you to restate
elaborate
it.
why you feel. Hold on, stop.
No, I'm just asking. What is the existential threat?
You already agreed
Well, I'm just
to it.
asking. What is the existential threat? I'm
Did you
asking.
not agree to it now?
I'm just. You can't
You're
even
trying
answer
to
it.
double back.
We've agreed to it to be
and
nice
you're
because we could have an
already-
actual financial
Hold on.
conversation, but
The
it is a
existential
conclusion
threat
not proven.
is the national debt. Is
Yes,
that correct?
correct. Cutting USA doesn't do much to alleviate that. That's why this isn't the
Doesn't do
syllogism
much,
you
but
think
it
it
does
is.
something.
It doesn't
Especially
matter.
mind you, when
matter.
cuts to USAID are meant to go to
It's
those checks and not in fact to lowering the debt. So that money would still be flying out of the government. Remember that?
Okay. So again, what
So
about
it wouldn't affect the deficit. It would not lower the deficit.
If
It would be going to
do the
those
thing
checks,
that you
which
just
by the way it
smuggled
hasn't.
in,
So it
you
wouldn't
just
even be
smuggled
reducing
in
that.
another part and said, "Oh, well, now it doesn't affect it."
Okay.
If you didn't smuggle that in, then
I-
it would. What I'm
If I
saying is we
go
have
on
to
a,
cut
if I
things
say I'm
where
going
we
on a diet,
can.
let me just ask this: if I say I'm going on a diet, then you see me go into Pizza Hut, I order 2 large pizzas for myself. Right? I get wings, I get cheesy bread, and then I say, well, you know what? I'm going to order a Diet Coke. Would you consider me being serious about my diet? Am I taking the diet seriously?
I'm making a prescriptive claim about what we should do, not a descriptive claim. Why are you laughing?
Because
It's
it doesn't
not a
even make
descriptive
sense
claim.
here. What do you mean?
It's not a descriptive claim about everything that's happening with the money. I'm making a prescription for overseas funds. If you have a problem with that logic, then you can bring it out. But deflecting to something else is just moving the goalpost, dude. We're not talking about that. That wasn't the prompt, was it? I know you can't win on the prompt. I understand that.
But hold on. You understand that, again, in many cases, us donating or giving money to these struggling countries makes it more likely in the future that they will give us good trade deals, positive trade deals, which would make us what?
I would need
money.
I would need you to.
It would make us money, and we
If you want to look into it, that's what the Reagan
You can make that
administration
claim,
did.
but
A lot
I
of
need you to
people have
demonstrate
criticized
that. You can make that claim.
Reagan
That's
era
not argument.
organization.
Let's see. Okay, I'll demonstrate it. I'll just demonstrate it real quick for you using your own logic.
You have to
He doesn't want to-
demonstrate it.
I'm doing that right now.
You're not even one of the debaters. Why are you demonstrating the argument? Honestly, I'm just asking.
I like to talk. I have
No,
this.
but let them demonstrate an argument.
Support education funding abroad and at home.
That's the argument.
No, that's not the argument. The argument is since it was founded in the 60s, we have grown immensely in wealth and power, and that is partially in part because of the USA program. It hasn't hurt us. It has only helped.
Yeah,
Well,
that's why I was saying
I would
logically
argue against
cutting.
that.
Go ahead, Gibbs. You can take it.
Yeah, I would argue against this actually. I mean, and then here's an evidence. So this is actually from the House.gov. You can look this up. It's USAID's Troubling Ties Left Dark Money Network. Testimony for the Subcommittee on Delivery of the Government Efficiency, Committee of Oversight, yada, 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 by Tyler O'Neill. This is from February 26, 2025. And they go in here and they list a lot of these things like that we've already talked about. Examples, 1.5 million to advance diversity, equity, inclusion in Serbia. Workplaces, exploiting advance human rights, social inclusion, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, 6 in Guatemala, 250 million for climate finance development accelerator, mobilize all these things. And then they go on to how later in this document, how there's ties to some of these. They're saying, oh, well, we deny ever giving money back and doing this. But then there's evidence that they do it of things of like suppressing actively these regimes, specifically in South America, where they go and attack and they repress people that are opposed leftist ideology. And they're using the United States money to fund oppression. Now, I don't want to fund oppression, right? And then this goes back to my point earlier about, hey, we are now making a lot more deals with all these countries in South America. We have much more favorable governments. I don't think it's good to have governments that are pro-communist groups pro-China on the close to our hemisphere, right? And now we're pushing them out. And these are all things that USA has enabled, according to this document that was presented. And so I'm sitting here looking at this and I'm going, hey, I see this all the time. And I think the evidence speaks for itself. We cut USAID and seven countries switched in their newest election from left to right and populist pro-American regimes. This is a good thing. Do you think a populist, openly pro-American regime is more likely to make a deal with the United States than a country that's siding actively with China and other socialist countries? Yeah, obviously. So when you're saying it's helped us, I would argue that's debatable. Maybe at one point it helped us, but I think it's become so corrupted that it's not helping us anymore.
Sure. Why do you think China uses its Belt and Road initiatives?
Absolutely. That's
why do you think it does that? Why do you think it has that program?
I think they do it for the same reason that you would argue the USA. I absolutely believe in soft power. I just believe how it's been done poorly. Now, when you're sitting here saying with China, there's a reason why China is now having a rubber band kind of effect in some of these African countries, because now they're having Chinese businesses there. And some of these African countries are very upset because now they have foreign businesses taking jobs from people there. That sounds kind of familiar, right? So we're having this issue repeatedly on a global scale where this liberal idea of this liberal world order is kind of failing. It's being progressed with a multipolarity, hemispheric order of Russia and China getting their spheres, NATO and Africa kind of developing theirs, and the United States getting our hemisphere, right? And so that's what I'm seeing right now. And I'm saying I think USAID has failed in the long run. It maybe helped the short term, but it's gone now.
Okay. Well, gang, we've kind of circled the drain a little bit, and we are a little out of time. It's 8 o'clock, so I'm going to give every one of these lovely individuals a chance to have closing thoughts, closing statements, final arguments, and tell people where they can find you. I have links to all their channels in my YouTube description. Please click them. Please give them a follow. Please give them a sub. All these things. I see your super chats. We're going to get through them. They can stay if they'd like, and I'd like them to. And I see callers want to call in as well, and you can absolutely call in if you'd like. But when you need to go, I understand. I'm going to give the mic first to Destiny. I'm going to let Mr. Andrew have the last word. Destiny, make your closing thoughts.
I mean, if you're not going to trust anything the government says for any of their own tracking or accountability things, but you are going to trust when Doge says they've cut things, I don't even know how you begin to have the conversation about whether or not USAID has been efficient or done anything at all. I don't know how to have those arguments where somebody doesn't trust any of the government accountability offices or any of the reporting. I mean, there's whole sites you can go to look up all of this stuff. I wish that people knew what waste, fraud, and abuse actually was. I don't blame conservatives for not, because they were also tricked into thinking that Trump is a good businessman, and so they trusted him when he talks about waste, fraud, and abuse, even though he's a terrible fucking businessman. Yeah, I don't know. I just get sad to be kind of locked into ranked fives when half the team apparently wants to int. It's pretty obvious that our standing in the world has gone pretty severely down since Trump took office, but I don't know. People are in some massive cope denial about that, and will continue until we get a Democrat back in office, I guess.